6:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin remains hospitalized and in critical condition after suffering cardiac arrest on the field during Monday Night Football in Cincinnati. On Tuesday, his family released a statement thanking the public for its support and continued prayers. Titans linebacker Rashad Weaver was teammates with Hamlin in college at Pitt.
And that's a guy I talk to, whether it be on social media, text, Snapchat, Twitter, anything, at least probably once a week, constantly just telling each other how we see each other, doing our thing each week, playing. And
as the league attempts to find a new normal, the Titans are in preparations for Saturday's division title game at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Only cornerback Devontae Harris did not practice. Christian Fulton, Amani Hooker, Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Jeffrey Simmons, among others, were limited. Danico Autry, Derrick Henry, and Josh Thompson were full participants. College basketball last night, number 8 Tennessee cruised past Mississippi State 87-53. Vanderbilt defeated South Carolina 83-79 in overtime. And to the ice, the Predators doubled up the Canadians 6-3. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday edition off and running. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With an 11-year NFL veteran, his name is Ramon Foster.
That is I.
A capitalized J journalist, Kayla Anderson in the building, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen.
The best producer in the world!
I'm Will Bowling. A big week for the Tennessee Titans continues, one day closer to game day in Jacksonville against the Jaguars, and tons to discuss on this morning show. Hello, friends.
Hi.
Good morning, Will.
Who's sweating? Raise their hand.
I'm going to be real
Raise their
close.
hand. Oh, yeah. You can probably see pit stains already if you're on the chat, because I've been in here 5 minutes and I'm dripping sweat.
It's steamy. You want to hear something about pit sweat? I'm going to let you get back to that. I had a teammate that had real bad underarm issues.
I feel bad for those type of people.
He ended up getting is it Botox underneath his arms
and it
to stop
works.
it. Yeah, it does work.
What?
Yeah,
I've had
absolutely.
some friends do that.
He hated it. Like and then he lives in a hot state also.
Sure.
And he'd have on like shirts all the time and a big old stain. Yeah, he which is insane. It worked for him.
And now he hosts a radio show from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone.
Oh, my gosh.
If you had the first book job at 6:04 a.m.,
Super
then
petty.
congratulations.
Basically, Ramon described Bruce Pearl on the sidelines when he was
God.
coaching basketball.
Great
Yes.
Hey, you know what? That's what brought up the conversation and how that guy opened up to me about it. He saw watching TV in the locker room. Bruce Pearl had a bunch of sweat underneath his arm. He was like, "Hey, you can get that fixed." I was like, "What?" And he broke it down to me.
So Sean Miller, when I covered Arizona in Tucson, Sean Miller might have the worst sweating issues in the world. He would literally sweat through his first shirt, his second shirt, and by the time the game was done, he was literally drenched. And they would be memes because it was so ridiculous how much he would sweat. I mean, he probably lost 15 pounds during a game.
That's insane. Yeah, I didn't mean to hijack your story, but you brought up your armpits. I was like, yeah, people fix that stuff too.
Yeah, I don't need to go any more detail about it, but I'm just saying, it's 5 minutes in. I'm never hot, ever. You guys know I wear parkas in here.
I wore this friggin' sweatshirt thinking, we got AC today. And
I did
jeans.
too.
I'm going to be swampy today.
I'm with you. And
I think I
jeans.
showered this morning. Man, just bad.
Should have worn a
business.
tank top
I
today.
should have wore. I thought about wearing my cutoff sleeve sweatshirt. Nope, wrong.
Ron
Absolutely
Slay
wrong.
last night. We were at dinner. We had a dinner with one of our great clients
Spring Hill,
here,
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
And Ron was bragging about here in a few months, he's going to be wearing tank tops in these studio cutoffs, he said, because he's going to be in such good shape.
Oh, that's terrific.
Oh, yeah. Those words from our own Ron Slay, baby.
Did he really?
He did.
Wow.
He's ready to go, man, on that
Speaking into
workout
existence.
and eating plan.
It's funny though because of course it's the three of us. Like Ron and Nardo weren't all raised in the same household. Me and Renardo were my older brother. He's 18 months older than me, and Ron is a year and a half maybe older than no, about two and a half years older than Nardo. But we're all like super click tight.
Yeah.
Nardo started his weight loss journey first. But Nardo's been strategic and like incrementally like dropping down like in increments or whatever, right? And I sent Ron a picture of Nardo, and Ron was like, "Y'all not leaving me behind." Yeah, it got real serious. It's turned into a competition now.
I didn't expect anything
That's
less.
why he's saying that. He starts Monday.
Yes.
He starts Monday. So let's
Where's
go
that
in
candy box?
So
you
when you
want to
make
give
the
it to me
joke
over
of
here?
diet starts Monday after you post a picture of a big meal, the diet literally does start
So
It
Monday.
starts
Yeah.
Monday.
Oh, perfect.
So no
Getting
mas.
into that.
No mas.
Ron has a candy
I'll
box
take
here,
those.
if you didn't know.
He has
So.
a candy box of stuff in here.
So who gets all this stuff? And
Joe
where do I
Hunk.
sign? Oh, okay.
Joe Hunk. He's
Why does he get it?
He's a human garbage disposal.
Oh.
Well,
Y'all never
is
heard
that just because he's from Alabama? Like,
Did
what's
you
going
just
on?
call him trash?
No, I just call he'll eat anything. That's what I've learned from Joe Hunk. But yeah, he's excited about his weight loss journey, Kayla. I asked him.
I'm excited for him.
I was like,
Come on, Will. I'll eat all the
Oh my
candy
God.
that's in his
Thought that was
box,
him.
man.
Hey, wait a minute. This is a workplace.
Phrasing.
Time out.
All
off to a
right,
hot
start.
I can't even top
Hot
that
start.
one. I can't top that one. We're good to go.
Yeah,
Kayla?
so, I mean, I'll happily eat whatever candy is available.
Really?
Oh,
Are
of
you a
course.
eat anythinger?
100%.
Are you really?
Really?
100%.
I would have never thought that.
Even like veggies, like any
Yeah.
type of veggie.
Pretty much. My favorite veggie is actually Brussels sprouts.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big
Brussels sprouts.
sprout guy.
I've been eating those since 1983.
I've not, but I stand in solidarity with you.
I'm new to Brussels sprouts. Like within like the last 5 years, maybe a little bit longer.
This is a new food for me.
Yeah.
And you want to know why?
Yeah,
Some
what took you so long?
hollandaise.
The Simpsons.
What in the world?
You remember Bart always
No,
made it
I
like a
don't
bad thing?
Unreal.
Oh, you
Not a
watched
Simpsons
this. Like
fan.
Bart was, he hated Brussels sprouts. I was
did.
like, what? You remember that? So a cartoon made me dislike Brussels sprouts. It was my childhood, Will.
Unreal.
Yeah.
You like saute those things, put a little bacon in there?
Gosh.
Yeah.
You've always eaten them?
Treat.
Not always, but probably in the last, 3 or 4 years.
He's in the same boat as me.
Ramon, you want to know
Well,
what
yeah,
made
but
me
I'm-
hate Brussels sprouts?
What's that?
Brussels sprouts.
No,
Okay.
they're actually good.
As soon as I was old enough to not be eating them in some kind of cafeteria and could like actually have them, they were really good.
Right. Once he was a grown up. I mean, that was like what, last year?
That was last week.
Vegetables are
Last
just
week.
a food that get in the way of eating more of what you actually want to eat.
That's very fair.
Did you see the guy
That's
in
fair.
Philly that ate a rotisserie chicken by himself for 40 straight days?
Okay, I
didn't-
couldn't do that.
No.
Not
I
all
couldn't do
heroes
that.
wear capes, guys.
No. By
That
the
is
way,
I say that
I-
because
I
I, ate a
think I-
rotisserie chicken last night. And
I think I
channeled
did that
energy.
for like 3,
you know what
not
I was,
40.
Respect.
what I
Because
was.
you're a great American.
No, I'm just 40 pounds overweight and have
Okay.
a terrible diet.
So he's joining me too, huh?
Yeah, probably next week. Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
I
We're the
will
only
not
one.
be going in that
Kayla
direction,
and
folks.
Kayla and I will take
No.
anything you don't want.
We get slim. We get slim.
I'm going advanced nutrition probably next week.
It's bulking
Wow,
season.
guys.
My God. Hey, Will, summertime
season.
by spring break, you said.
When you look like me,
telling you.
every season is bulking season.
My-
615-737.
Stupid.
Let him finish.
Wow, what a
Let
fun
him
segment
finish.
that
Go
was.
ahead.
by spring break, I want to be close to 310
Okay.
or 305. That's where I'm at.
Could you play at that weight?
In my position, no. To be fair, like
In all
really,
seriousness.
in all seriousness, at 310, 305, I wouldn't have survived. I don't think. Athletically, just being real with you, I prospered on hard work, athletic ability, but size. That's where I prospered at, and I can be honest with myself in
matters.
saying that.
So what did you play at? About 3?
I played at about 335, 340.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it made it look good, didn't it? Will?
Yeah, you-
big and strong.
Oh, boy.
All right. That's enough offensive line talk for one show, and it's 6:10 in the
Well,
morning.
we're just going to get chiseled
By spring break.
by spring break.
That's where we at. Spring break for us kicks off.
Whoa. I ain't saying anything about getting chiseled.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
no,
lose
no,
some
no.
weight,
Chiseled.
but
I'm getting chiseled.
I mean, I am.
I actually got told I had to stop lifting because mine is to just shred fat. So
How's bagging
I
camp?
was, you know what? I'm breaking it down to y'all not going to steal my joy, okay? That's what I'm telling y'all, okay?
We've got 3 hours and 50 more minutes to do that, so we're just getting started.
I just don't want the big bobblehead. You know, you see guys like lose a whole lot of weight,
Yes.
and you're like, God, dog, your head was huge.
But see, seriously, even with you at like 330, and you're a
Yeah.
big guy,
Yeah, you're tall.
but you couldn't really tell that you were 330.
Yeah.
You're just a big guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's
Yeah.
where being 6'4", 6'5" has helped you out tremendously.
No, 6'6", Shake. What?
No,
Did
so
Ron
no, you're
pay
not
you for that?
6'6".
I am
You're
6'6".
not 6'6".
I'm 6'5".
You are not.
I'm 6'5" and 5/8 without shoes
Oh,
on.
shut up.
He's the
You're
guy
not
on the
6'6".
roster
Check my
that
combine.
said he was 2
Check-
inches taller than what he really was.
Well, and in basketball, I did do that, okay? In
course you
basketball, I did do that. But 6'5" and 5/8 is my combine
I
height.
got a little story to tell. We were out at the Orange and White game a couple of years ago in Knoxville. And we're just messing around. We're walking around town. And I try to chest bump Ramon. So I chest bump him and go about 10 feet backwards.
It's not smart.
I went, dear Lord. Now I know why this guy played in the NFL.
Right?
There's a difference.
Like, my God.
I think people do. I've had other people say that too in posts, like, man, you're a big dude. I was like, well, I felt normal next to my teammates.
Sure.
And then y'all see a picture of me next to Alejandro. This fool is 6'10".
And you felt small
I felt
compared to
small.
him.
I'll never forget, we went to one of those events the past couple of years. It may have been last year.
Yeah.
And I took a picture with you and Slay, and then I was like pictured next to normal looking people.
Sure.
And somebody commented, it was like, oh, Will's actually kind of tall. It's like, I'm 6'1".
You
Yeah.
are.
Except next to y'all, I look like I'm 5'7".
Yeah.
It's funny, like when I was on TV with
And
News
Kayla,
2.
you're tall.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Whoa, you're so much taller in person." I was like, "What, you think I'm like 5'2" on here? What, you assuming just everybody's 5'2"? Because a lot of people are short in Hollywood and on TV.
Did not realize
People are short.
I was
Yeah.
doing one of
Did
my
not
first
realize
ever SEC Network broadcasts with a co-broadcaster who will remain nameless. And we were doing our stand-up before the game, and I was a lot taller than the guy I was working with.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you're gonna need to squat down. Like you're way taller than me." And I was like, "Oh, that's yeah, for sure."
Sure.
He's like, "No, I'm being serious."
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
the
for
whole
real?
stand-up we did on
Oh,
TV,
no.
I'm like literally just like crouching down and just trying to like hold a wall sit while I'm like giving analysis. Like, yeah,
No.
ready for the game.
Ain't no way.
Because
Okay,
usually they have
speaking
a
of that.
box for the shorter person to stand on, but this time they were like, we don't have box. Like, you just got to crouch
they
down.
need to have the
Literally.
box ready for those
A
people.
bunch of us were down at the state championship
Yeah.
football games down in Chattanooga. And I was doing radio, and the booth next to me was Ramon and Don.
Yep.
And Ramon knows
Yep.
exactly what I'm going to say. I look over, they're doing their pre-record stand-up, and Don's literally standing on,
On
a
a box.
box.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and
People don't
Dawn's
realize
not
how
small.
common
She's
that is.
normal size. Dawn's fine. But compared to that guy,
Yeah. And
The
how we
mountain.
had to do the cameras and stuff. Yeah, that was, I was like, oh, you really got to get a box?
Yeah, that's what in TV they
Oh,
do
literally.
all the time, you guys.
Yeah.
When they do that free shot at the desk,
Yeah.
a lot of them, the women, if they're not tall or not wearing heels, they've got to stand on those boxes so they're the same height as like, the male anchor or whatever.
That's right. All the time.
Wow.
615-737-1045, our number if you want to jump in. And this morning, a scout meeting Wednesday previewing round 2 against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday. Rhett Bryan's weekly visit at 9. And looking forward to having Inky Johnson join us a little bit earlier this morning at 9:30 as he reflects on DeMar Hamlin's injury and his own experience in a similarly terrifying situation on the field as a Tennessee Volunteer years ago. We take a look when we come back, though, at the injury report yesterday at St. Thomas Sports Park and the latest on DeMar Hamlin from his family last night as they give us a positive update from the hospital in Cincinnati. When we come back on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Craftsman on the Hill, one of the best bars around the Middle Tennessee area. It's located at 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage. They have one of the best bar menus around, and also this too. If you want to go there and pack up with your friends, they got a lot of parking, so you don't have to worry about how far am I going to park away from it. That is actually a big advantage. But everything you can think of there: wings, burgers, quesadillas, chicken sandwiches, a lot of homemade sauces. It's about to get cold again, and you know what I'll tell you: to go get their smoked brisket chili. Fridays, you can go get your catfish plate before you head to the house. Every single night they have something going on, whether it's trivia night, karaoke, there's poker tournaments for you guys that want to get in a game or two. It's the perfect place to go support your college team during bowl season or the Two-Tone Blue this weekend. Plenty of TVs to watch your favorite sports and sports teams. It's locally owned, which is the best part. We support Nashville and operated with new management. Your favorite beer, spirit, plenty of nightly drinking food specials. Monday through Sunday, Craftsman on the Hill, 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage.
This is what we all sounded like when we got here again this morning. When you walk into a building and all the doors are open, it's not great. Usually not a great scene. This is also Austin Riley's walk-up music.
Is it?
This is a great walk-up song.
Does he play for the Braves?
He does.
Yeah,
He's the third
he does.
baseman.
We need to get you to a Braves game, too,
We
there,
really
partner.
do, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with
Nashville
that.
SC, Braves.
Oh, I'm good. I don't got to go to a Braves game.
I'm good with going to that
fine.
game. Y'all want to roll?
Schaefer
Yes.
was
definitely
hurt
wrong.
back in the day.
Shape's like, I'm not
still
going.
scarred.
Are you really, Shafe?
I could care less about the Braves.
I mean, it
I
feels
like-
like you could care less because you just
Actually, that's fair. That's fair.
you think a lot about them just in a negative context.
Actually, no, I don't think much about them, but when I do hear about them, I dismiss them.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors
Smooth
here at
transition
104.5
there.
The Zone. That's right.
Never let Will win at anything.
I'm here, aren't I? So I don't know. All right. Anyway,
That's all right. I'm doing new opens today. So
Ron-
we'll see.
oh no.
Oh, no. The mac and cheese has been retired, I heard.
Yeah,
Did it
not
get-
yet. It will be. It will be tomorrow.
Oh, great. Now the pit thing's going to come out. I
Yeah.
know it. I
Oh,
knew
I
it.
grabbed 2 or 3 from Tuesday with you, Kayla. So we'll be good.
Kayla.
Lovely.
Oh,
Sometimes I don't care what I say on here, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, same.
save it. Save it.
You don't get to call the shots.
Nah,
What
nah,
are
I'm
we
just
doing?
Ramon trained.
I shut up for a reason right
Back
there. I
off,
was like,
Ramon.
yeah.
Yeah, if you ever don't
Save
want, like, you could just like make a sound. If you ever don't want yourself to be recorded by Jonathan Schaefer, just like snap your fingers or something, or just like start clapping.
Yeah.
Just like just like make like a random noise. I don't know. That's probably worse, but
The great thing is that everyone falls into a false sense of security and forgets. So, like, we'll get 3 hours into the show and people are like, yeah, yeah. And
Exactly.
no one remembers.
yeah, the 9 a.m. hour really sneaks up on you in that context.
I was talking to somebody last night. I had to take a call at my kid's game, and I said something about Shafe. I brought up Shafe name and stuff like that. And I was like, Shafe. It was like, what you mean, the best producer in the world?
Look at that.
I was like, you should know
best
this.
producer in the world.
There it is.
I was like, you should know this, man. Why
When
are you?
people call into the
That's
show,
incredible.
I'll go, Zone, what's your name? And they'll go, best producer in the world.
That's awesome.
I
That's
didn't ask him to
awesome.
do this.
That's great.
Angel in Clarksville, Michael in Clarksville, some other ones. Yeah.
I love that.
It's
Big,
fantastic.
you're a big name in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, Clark's Vegas? Heck yeah.
I've never heard
Vegas.
that. Clark's Vegas?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, getting the Buckies.
Oh yeah, they are.
Wait,
Yeah.
they're getting
God's
the
country.
Buc-ee's
They're
too?
getting. Hey, listen to. Have you rolled up to
Holy
Clarksville
manna.
as of late?
Yeah, last year.
The
Yeah.
Clarksville is like
Booming.
wide. It's so
Yeah.
wide.
Oh,
Kayla.
I remember
they
when we go
got
up there for TV.
nothing but room to develop. Also, Mount Juliet. Also,
Are they getting a
Out
Buc-ee's?
in my way.
have you? I don't. They could.
I don't
They
think
could
so.
have one.
Murfreesboro is.
They got so much space in those two cities right
Dang.
there. I'm probably outing them right now.
I was just going to say, people are not,
No, those announcements
residents
have
of
been
that
made.
area are
Yeah.
going to be like,
But we went to their gym last night. The kiddo had a game. Their middle school gym looks like a high school gym. I'm talking to one of
Wow.
the dads. I'm like, yo, this is middle school regulation because the gym is just so massive. And I was like, they planned for growth.
yeah.
Legitimately, they have some of the biggest schools I've ever seen. And I've only seen the middle school, Kayla.
That's incredible.
It's out of this world. It really is. Clark's Vegas, man. Clark Reno.
Clark's Reno.
All those Buc-ee's are just helping pay Jimbo Fisher's buyout eventually.
I mean,
serious.
that's
I
why
love
they're
when you
starting to
say
build
that.
more of them.
Yeah.
They're like,
mean,
let's
be
get
real.
this thing going.
Literally, his chance of being the coach this time next year is tied to the price of oil.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you know, if that wasn't the price tag, he'd be gone.
Yeah.
He'd be
Golly.
gone.
Yeah, I would think so. He underperformed. They didn't even make
He's
a bowl game.
underperformed for a minute.
I think they made a bowl game.
Did they make a bowl game? Did
No,
they win?
they did not.
They did
No,
not.
they didn't make one this year.
They, I read an article in The Athletic the other day about Kentucky
agree.
basketball,
Yeah.
who
Oh,
barely won against LSU last night. Title of the article
yep.
is John Calipari, the Jimbo Fisher of college basketball.
People have been saying that.
Yeah.
As far as like his reputation,
It warmed my cold heart so
it's
much.
been questioned, man, a little while anyhow.
Because he's an elite recruiter who's getting 5 stars every year to play in an archaic offense that hasn't been updated in 10 years.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's Jimbo Fisher.
And we were talking about it at dinner last night, and Slay said they got a freshman class coming in that's dynamite. But if he doesn't do something with that class,
Yeah.
he could be in trouble.
No, for real.
Lifetime contract.
You want to get somebody talking about Calipari? You ask my brother Renardo. He's a Louisville guy. Oh, my gosh. He's been saying he's been a fraud for the longest.
They lost again last night.
Who? Louisville? Yeah.
They had a lead on Syracuse.
Oh. I ain't texting Nardo today.
They have 2 wins this year.
Stay away from
They're
that
2-13, I believe now, or 2-14.
That's like a hidden fan base, Louisville.
It is.
That's super.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Passionate.
Oh,
It's huge.
super passionate, man.
huge. One of my best friends growing up is a Louisville basketball fan.
Straight up.
Yeah, he's got family from there.
Oh, this Kentucky. Yeah, I know. They got some issues. They got to get fixed out too. Their coach just got an extension.
Yep.
Football coach anyway. Well, both basketball and football right now.
It's football school.
Football school. But
Meanwhile, Tennessee's, they're just rocking.
Tennessee was
They
alley-ooping
put those
on Mississippi State
cowbells
last
to
night.
bed, even though it was in Knoxville. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Mississippi State had no chance.
It was 16-0 at the first
the
time
heck
out. And they
happened?
21-0 is skunked, as we talked about the other day. 21-0, you pass the sticks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Barnes was heated the entire game.
was
Even at
great.
the end, I felt like he was like, we need to go put more points out there in the handshake line.
It's fantastic.
He was like, we got more to go.
What was worse, his or Brian Kelly's at LSU with what they did this past weekend?
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about the points, not
Picking
the
up
stuff.
and
60
picking
something?
up
69, wasn't it?
and picking up Cheez-Its off the ground and eating them after
Did
they
they really?
Well, they dumped him with Cheez-Its instead of Gatorade.
Well, you know them
And
boys.
so he picked
from,
it up off the ground and started eating it.
They from
There's
Louisiana.
a 5-second rule.
Hey,
That's the most like Les Miles Brian Kelly's ever been.
I mean, that's the closest he's gotten to eating crawfish.
That's
Fair.
right.
I love crawfish.
Do you really?
I do.
You like him, Kayla?
Yeah, I like seafood.
You like
In
seafood
general.
in general? Say less.
Yeah, except for oysters.
Oysters?
Fair
Just
enough.
too slimy?
Hardly know her. Titans injury report
hardly
yesterday
knows
from St. Thomas Sports Park.
Phrasing.
The only non-participant of practice, corner Devontae Harris. Lots of limited participants, including Nicholas Petit-Frere, Jeffrey Simmons, Amani Hooker, Christian Fulton, Dylan Cole, Terrell Basham. Full participants, Danico Autry, Josh Thompson, and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, limited is better than not at all.
Yeah, non-participant.
Certainly
Yeah.
is. The update yesterday from Cincinnati and DeMar Hamlin from his family. The family releasing a statement yesterday saying, on behalf of our family, we want to express sincere gratitude for the love and support shown to DeMar during this challenging time. We're deeply moved by the prayers, kind words, and donations from fans around the country. That GoFundMe, by the way, above $5 million now.
By
That
the
is
way,
incredible.
It is. They abbreviated it, the description also, as far as they were saying this is, as a toy drive still,
Sure.
but there's also expenses that'll probably be accrued and they will pull from that. I think that's fair.
Absolutely. I do too.
His career is done. I would. No, let me say, it'll be hard for a guy to come back from something like that.
Real quick question, because he was only a second-year player, what's the medical?
As far as NFL goes,
Yes.
to get vested for benefits and everything else, you have to have 3 years and 3 games. 3 games is a year in the NFL. That certifies you as a year. So he need 3 years and 3 games to be vested and to receive benefits for life after 55.
I say they give him one.
But
Just give him the benefit.
in a situation like this, the optics of everything that's happened, they have to take care of a guy
Okay.
like that. Like, I
Good.
think Shazier will probably have a lifeline in this league. The
Okay.
Steelers took care of Shazier way after his tenure was up. I'm not even sure Shazier was I'm not sure if he was vested when he got injured either. I don't think he was.
Really?
No. And they still kept him on roster for pay
Perfect.
and also insurance also. Shazier's kind of set himself up post-career with a lot of things that I think he's fine. I think the same thing happens if he's not
Okay.
able to play with Hamlin too, in the sense that, league, this is in front of everybody for y'all to see. You got to do right by this kid. This can't be one of those situations where you just put him to the side and say, oh, we'll just forget about this one. They got to do the human thing in this one. That's
Okay.
be right by him, whether that's lifetime support for him, whether it's a front office job for him till he really gets going in a different direction to be able to, kind of alleviate some of that financial stress. And I know some people say, well, this doesn't happen to everybody, but most people aren't employed by the NFL, and you don't get almost lose your life on national TV in front of everybody too. So, but no, he's not vested, Kayla.
Yep.
Dorian Glenn, Damar Hamlin's uncle, told ESPN's Coley Harvey outside the hospital last night that Hamlin is sedated and, quote, improving from where he was yesterday, adding, "We are just continuing to pray and know that he is in good hands with the medical team he has here," and adds they've been doing a tremendous job.
Yeah.
Hamlin's agent, Ron Butler, told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that Hamlin's oxygen levels have improved and gave more details of what happened in the moment in Cincinnati, saying he had to be resuscitated twice.
Wow.
Once on the field and then once after he arrived at the hospital.
Wow.
They're talking about lung damage and many other things. So certainly a long battle ahead, but it seemed like a positive update is just we get more details of where he's at right now. And his family and his agent saying that things are steadily improving, but it looks like a long road ahead still for Damar Hamlin.
Did you see that they had flipped him on his stomach to help drain?
Fluid out of his chest and stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Because that's what the body does when you have inflammation in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically fluid surrounding what's been traumatized. So that's smart. That's good. His teammates, by the way, I heard Dawkins speak this morning,
Yeah.
his offensive lineman, first class. And in a situation where you have no game plan, you have no plan whatsoever how to deal with it. A lot of, like, I've heard a bunch of people use that conversation. We have too. That thumbs up mean a lot for
Yeah,
a lot
it
of
does.
different people. And I think now we understand it more than anything. So to hear those guys try to manage this and talk through it, honestly, with no real, what's the pamphlet for this, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
We really don't have one. Heck, we didn't know how to handle Inky's situation other than the fact that we knew he was going to live, you know, in a sense. I can't wait to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
For a lot of different reasons. I'll tell him on air, I didn't know Inky wasn't going to play anymore until really going into my senior year.
Right. I mean, you always
didn't know.
hope for the absolute best, and it doesn't even you don't let it cross your mind, right?
And I ain't going to say Ink tricked us, but Ink was
Yeah.
working out with
Yeah.
us. He was around film. He was doing everything that a player that's coming back was doing. So for the longest, and truthfully, Kayla, Will, listeners, it might have crushed me early on if I knew Inky was done playing football. He
Yep.
was doing box jumps with one arm in a sling, hitting the ground, getting up and running. Me being his homeboy, one of my best friends, it probably would have just broken me down and
Yep.
be like, when he said, "Big homie, I can't play no more." And he never said
He
it.
never said it.
He never said it.
Well, the Titans certainly addressed this situation, discussed the details of how it affects them, how it affects the rest of the league yesterday. And Kayla, you were there in the locker room for conversations with many players about this and just the next steps. And we'll start with our Q's and K's today with Mike Vrabel and his comments. And I thought he had a really good answer just about opening up and saying, when you watch this, you think of yourself as a parent first instead of a coach. And then you start to process how this affects you as a coach in this league. Here was Mike Vrabel's statement yesterday at the beginning of his comments to the media.
Obviously, for the players and the coaches and the NFL and our fans and anybody that's even knows the NFL. So obviously, we want to, on behalf of the Titans organization, our players and everybody involved, send our deepest sympathies and our concerns and our prayers to Damar, who, by all accounts, is fighting his tail off in Cincinnati. And to his family who watched that unfold, in front of their eyes. To Damar's football family in Buffalo and Pittsburgh, those teammates. And, we have one of those guys, Rashad Weaver, was a teammate of his. So, doing everything we can just to continue to support him and sending out, obviously our thoughts to everybody involved. And just commend Zach and Sean for their leadership that they showed last night, for the example that they showed. Really in all of the players on both sides, Buffalo and Cincinnati, the way that they supported each other was amazing to see. And it just, we all watch these games differently. Fans watch them at home or a bar, or coaches in this league watch them, as they're working and the game's on in the background. So, we were all affected, differently. But, we just send our condolences. And, and really just the respect that we have for everybody involved, and wish nothing but the best for tomorrow.
So there was Mike Vrabel yesterday in his opening comments to the media on Damar Hamlin.
Yeah. I thought that for what, nothing prepares you for this, whether that was your teammate or your player, or it's Mike Vrabel who coaches a total different team, who has players on his team who know Damar, especially Rashad Weaver. But for him to go out there, it just spoke from the heart, I feel like. And I do think, taking it from a humanizing kind of angle with him being a parent now. Like, he has kids who play sports, a kid who plays football.
Yeah.
And that probably hit different for Mike Vrabel watching that. Because like he said, it was different for all of us.
Yeah. That to me was the biggest thing. It was good to see Vrabel be that guy because he's usually just brick wall when you're talking to him and his emotions. For him to bring up his own kids and the fact that they play, or he's like, if you got a third baseman that plays and you see something, you don't think about the play.
Yeah.
You don't think about who hit him. You think about what happened to your kid and are they going to be okay? And I think that's where a lot of us kind of are, in the sense. It's just like – T. Higgins attached to it because we saw the blow of what happened when T ran into him. That's all, and that's all you think of. That's all you think of in that situation. So I'm glad Vrabel did right by that, which was already expected. But Bayer had a lot of good things to say too, and everybody to a man is pretty much saying the same thing. We don't know how to navigate it because we never been through anything like this. So you gotta be understanding to what anybody says now.
And they met right before they did meetings yesterday as a group. And I talked to rookie Roger McCreary, who actually did not watch the game. He did not see that live, and was clearly sending his prayers, but said he thought it was really neat that they came together as a group, and guys like Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard spoke about that. Kevin Byard, who lost his mom last offseason, who had cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry, who actually trained with Damar a little bit.
Yeah.
So, both sharing some stories about that with some of these guys who maybe have never experienced or seen something like that.
And I just want to bring light to how a lot of people and his teammates are highlighting him as a person. A lot of time in this league and in all sports, we talk about the superstar guys, right? And this ain't no knock against them, but I tell we had this conversation all the time. You want to have a good conversation, talk to a guy that's a role player. You know what I'm saying? Those guys have a bunch of personality. They have a bunch that you don't know about them because most of the media, for the most part, other than local reporters and journalists, they're the only ones that talk to them. So to hear this kid's been doing his toy drive for a while, to hear how his teammates spoke about him and everything too, that's why it's always interesting when you really have an opportunity to learn guys like, man, that's a really dope dude, man. So I'm glad to hear that about him and hear his teammates and other people that knew him say that too, or know him say that.
Coming up next, we hear from his former college teammate, Rashad Weaver, who spoke to the media yesterday at his locker room at St. Thomas Sports Park. More sound from the Titans locker room coming up as they get ready for the Jacksonville Jaguars here on Scout Meeting Wednesday. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Michael Scott, Will Bowling, 2023. Good morning. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. I think this is Jonathan Schaefer's way of protesting the temperatures of this building, perhaps.
This just gives me a chance to air it out, to dance here.
Air out the pits.
I just imagine Michael Scott playing the drum in his office whenever I hear this song.
Love it.
Fantastic. It is really warm in here still, and I'm not getting over it anytime soon.
There may be a tab open on my computer that says 100 best songs with hot in the title.
Yeah.
It's getting hot in her.
Yeah, and her. 2 R's,
right.
3 R's.
Just make sure it's ready for Golden Boy at 10 this morning. Because nobody complains about the weather as much as Buck does. Yeah. And he admits it.
He will.
Well, guys, look, Lucas, they're having me working here, and it's 100 degrees. I don't know what I can do. I'm going to protest. 615-737-1045
Will
if you
is
want
on
to
one
jump.
today.
So if Buck protested by not doing the show, would anybody care?
I mean, we already called it the Lucas
probably,
Panzika show.
Well, we already came in and did the 10-minute opening that one time.
We've had
Remember
to fill
that?
in for a show before like that, so I'd be
Maybe Buck's way of protesting is being on time.
That's how we got this 4th hour.
It was some kind of street festival. I didn't realize it was Veterans Day.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
I don't understand. I cannot just in these conditions at all.
These people just in the road. I don't know what to do. Back to the shadows.
I will keep walking.
English is hard for me too. It's okay.
He just woke up to that. Oh my
Why
God.
y'all talking with so much spit in your mouth right
because
now?
they just made me not. I couldn't even say my words because there was so much going on.
Thing is, Buck really does get up as early as we do.
Yeah.
He works out.
He doesn't. He does not.
He works
sleep.
out.
He doesn't sleep?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, for real? I didn't realize that.
He wakes up on 10.
Wakes up with violence.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it.
I don't know how people just don't sleep like that.
Your body gonna crash one way or the other, baby.
That's when you get sick.
It is for real.
Speaking from experience, right here.
It just been running. You been running, Kay?
I had no voice Friday, and this is not good. This is still not my voice. I mean, I kind of like it because it's a little bit
A little raspy, like Jada Kiss out here.
Everything going on over there.
Like Jada Kiss. As long as your name's I think, never mind. I don't want to discriminate against somebody. It's I'd call you Gretchen. This is from a movie. If your voice is just.
Who the hell is Gretchen?
That sounds like a movie.
And that's an awful name. Oh, sorry. No offense to anybody whose name's that.
See, that's the reason I didn't want to go
Sorry,
that route.
I just don't want to be. I don't want to be called that.
Gretch. You know what I'm saying? It's like a movie character. It just sounds like a movie character, like a female with a super do the raspy voice, Kayla.
They would never call her Gretch either if her name was
You don't
Gretchen.
think so?
They'd call her G. They'd call her G, but not Gretch.
Not Gretch?
No.
That's awful.
Not at all.
You don't like Gretch? Gretch is
not.
I dropped that nickname like crazy.
Do you like Jerome?
Gretch. That ain't even close to my name.
You like
That's
that?
different. That's different right there. Gretch. I'd call somebody Gretch.
on your own over there.
Dylan in the chat says, Gretchen is better than Ursula. You're exactly right.
Most things are.
Who came up with Ursula? Legitimately.
Little Mermaid.
Who came up with Edith?
Edith?
Beatrice.
Beatrice. I know a few Beatrice. Beatrice. Either one of them.
This fits into Ramon's conversation that if your name sounds like you're old, then you're a baller.
Yeah.
You're bringing the lunch pail to play again.
Yeah, you are.
If you're lined up with a Grover on the other end of the field, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
My favorite Chris Rock line is Draymond Green is the blackest name of all time. I love it so much.
Yeah. Draymond had the ball out and hoop, baby. Same thing for somebody named Grover. Legitimately. If you were born in the 2000s, your parents named you Paul Puzlowski.
Paul Puzlowski.
You gotta be
You
a
played him
baller.
in the Outback.
You feel me? I played him.
You had to block him.
Isn't Grover a Sesame Street character?
Yeah, he also plays for the Colts. Grover's nice. I like Grover Stewart. He's a good player.
As a rule, if you share a name with a Sesame Street character, you get a little bit more street cred and not just on Sesame Street.
Oscar's an old head name.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Oscar's an old head name. I'm looking through lists of names right now, man. Jeez. Charlie in this day and time. No, there's a lot of guys that name that. That's
There
like a
is.
very
That's still pretty
popular
common.
name
Yeah.
now.
Well, it's like a popular baby name.
Yeah, Charlie Cook
There are a lot
talking
of
to you
names.
this morning.
There are a lot of names that you can't. That's right. There's a lot of names that you probably name because you're envisioning your kid as a child.
Yeah.
And they grow up, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, now there's like a 45-year-old named Bobby. Like Bobby is like a name you think of when somebody's a kid.
That's why they changed
Anything
it just
with an
to
E
Bob.
on it. Yeah, that's right.
So I'm on Pro Football Reference
Not
right
great,
now.
Bob.
There's a guy by the name of, and I've never heard this in modern history, Cotton Davis.
Cotton?
Cotton Davis.
Oh.
Yes. As a matter of fact, he played for, it was AFL, Baltimore, Dallas, and Oakland. Cotton
I'm sorry,
Davis.
but what are you doing over there? Are you typing in just weird football names?
No, I literally just went to a page of just a Pro Football Reference. They have like names on the front of the homepage.
Okay, so you didn't do specific.
No, I
okay.
didn't. I randomly click on stuff though, just to be like, who's this guy? Like right now, Greg Larson. I don't know who he is.
See,
He's a Super
Ramon
Bowl
just
winner.
does this. Like
I know.
I see you going home in your free time and just like Googling random football players and learning about them.
No, so interesting. Something that happened yesterday. I ended up on Pro Football Reference. There was a guy I ended up looking up.
Yeah, there we go. There it is.
There was a guy I ended up looking up. He was the first black NFL player in the NFL. Had
Okay.
79 career interceptions.
It's not bad.
Yes,
Wow.
not bad at all,
Who'd he play
is it? He played for Chicago. Give me 1 second. Golly,
It's
I can look
history
him up.
time
Yes, it is.
with the football guy.
With the football guy. 1 second.
Yeah, this is what he
This
does.
does not work in an audio medium, Ramon.
This is what he does in his spare time, folks.
why-
When you hear him being quiet over there, it's only because he's on his computer searching something.
Shave, should we
Why
give
need
Ramon
y'all
this
to-
offseason a football guy of the day? Where we just have Ramon
it.
just
I got
bring
it.
just like a random,
Yeah.
like,
I got
well,
it.
this guy played in 1970, like just play old NFL
I got
films.
it right
music.
here.
We
You
can do
ready?
that.
Random football stuff.
Emlyn Tunnel.
There you
Emlyn
Wow.
Tunnel. Also a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer. 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, 2-time NFL champion, the first black NFL player in the NFL. Career high, 79 interceptions in his career.
Dang. And played for Chicago.
And he played for,
Okay.
New York Giants and also Green Bay.
Okay.
And one of his interceptions by year, he had 7 in 19. He played in 1948. 7 in
Holy
1948.
smokes.
He had 10 the next year. 7, 9, 7, 6, 8, 7, 6, 6, 1, 2, and 3. So, yeah, 79 career interceptions. He made All-Pro second team.
That's because the football they were
Return.
trying to pass back then was the size of a boulder.
Well, from my understanding, I read up on it that he was also a free rover. That's also one of my
okay.
former coaches and also former Tennessee Titans coaches, Dick LeBeau.
Oh,
he
yeah,
had
the
about
great Dick
40
LeBeau.
interceptions
Yeah.
also in his career because they were rovers in that style
Yeah.
of playing.
And speaking of Boulder, I doubt
Ohio
Deion
State
Sanders
guy.
knows who this guy is either.
Yep, Emlyn Tunnel.
Hey, did Dick LeBeau, because he's an Ohio
Thank
State
you,
guy,
Schaefer.
so we talked about him a lot up there when I was
Yeah.
covering sports. Did he read like every Christmas Eve?
Oh my God!
Yes, that's
I
what
got
I
it. I
thought.
still have it in my
He
phone.
would
I
read
think.
"Twas the Night Before
What's
Christmas."
the night before
wasn't it?
Christmas? I
I'm
thought that
so
was
good with
so
it.
cool.
Emlyn Tunnel, also known as the Gremlin. Yep.
The Gremlin.
But
Now that's a
his
nickname.
Well,
his
that
size was
name's kind of a gremlin
well,
name.
his size was also rare for that era too. They have him. Some heights have him at 6'1", some have him at 6'3".
Oh, well, that's not rare
And
now.
playing playing safety,
Safety, yeah.
in that era,
Yeah.
oh, he was snatching everything out of there. So hey, there's your quick moment right
Phrasing.
Big Orange Mac tweets at us this morning at Ramon Kayla Wills, says, my future sons will have old head names like Willie Earl and Jewel Thomas.
There we go.
Willie Earl.
Willie Earl.
Willie Earl, Big Orange Mac. It's got a good ring to it.
It does.
All right,
six-
3 words, one name: Jim Bob Cooter.
That's
there.
right.
Oh, God.
By the way,
Tennessee legend.
on the Jacksonville Jaguars staff.
Seamless
There you
transition
go.
from radio professional. Ramon Foster. Really proud of you.
I appreciate that. You got your history lesson right there
We
too.
really did.
Emlyn Tunnel.
Learn something new every day. Coming up next, more sound from the Titans locker room as we hear from Rashad Weaver talking about his former teammate DeMar Hamlin. And Josh Dobbs on stepping in right away to become a leader. Mike Vrabel had some good comments about him as well. Literally learning the names of some of his wide receivers as he's throwing to them
Yeah.
against the Dallas Cowboys last week. We'll do that coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It is 7 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin remains hospitalized and in critical condition after suffering cardiac arrest on the field during Monday Night Football in Cincinnati. On Tuesday, his family released a statement thanking the public for its support and continued prayers. Titans linebacker Rashad Weaver, teammates with Hamlin in college at Pitt.
And that's a guy I talk to, whether it be on social media, text, Snapchat, Twitter, anything, at least probably once a week, constantly just sit telling each other how we see each other doing our thing.
As the league attempts to find a new normal, the Titans are in preparations for Saturday's division title game at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Only cornerback Davante Harris did not practice. Christian Fulton, Amani Hooker, Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Jeffrey Simmons, among others, were limited participants. Danico Autry, Derrick Henry, and Josh Thompson were full go. Men's college basketball last night, number 8 Tennessee, no problem getting past Mississippi State, 87-53. Vanderbilt defeated South Carolina 83-79 in overtime. And to the ice, Nashville Predators doubled up the Montreal Canadiens 6-3. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on into hour number 2 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, Wednesday edition. Scout Meeting Wednesday edition, as we talk Titans and Jags coming up in about 15 minutes with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling, and the best producer in the world, not the second best, not the third best, not the eighth best. But his name is Jonathan Schaefer. He's the best.
The best producer in the world.
Behind the glass here this morning in the heat. Is it warmer or cooler in your control room, Shafe, than it is in here?
It's cooler in here.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
Perfect. The air is always cooler on the other side.
The best producer in the world.
Oh,
wow. Look at it. Who's that? The best producer in the world.
Oh, that's Dawn.
I thought that was
sorry.
actually you.
It is.
It is. I was joking.
I'm talking about in the moment.
Oh, no.
He recorded
He
that?
recorded that, and I don't
Best
even
producer in the world.
I hate this guy.
One of those times I can't talk.
One
That's
of
why
these
he's the best
days-
producer in the world.
I'm just going to oversleep and get an extra, I'm going to get an extra hour of sleep
Listen,
because
that's shade.
Jonathan Schaefer could host a show
God, with
of
that.
just us saying things.
He really could.
You really could.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. 615-737-1045, the number. Injury report for the Titans.
I can't tell what's what now.
That's the point.
That's exactly
Get off your phone, Moan.
No, I had somebody tweet
I
at me
know,
from
I'm
Mount
joking.
Juliet. It was like, hey, no, sir, Mon, we are closed. They don't want to
See,
grow.
I told you people would get mad with you saying that on the airwaves.
Yeah.
Isn't Mount Juliet like the fastest growing community in Middle Tennessee? Like, I think it
It
passed Murfreesboro for like
probably
most
has
growth
to
over the
be.
last 2 years or so.
Yeah.
Something like
I believe
that.
it.
Shout out to PJ. He's like, no, sir,
Yeah.
we are closed.
Shut it, Ramon.
Stay out of Sumner. We're full.
We are. Something.
We are full.
We're full.
Had to add a new school and everything.
We need wider roads. I need to run for office around here.
Oh, wow.
Christmas
Oh,
tree.
there we go. Breaking news.
Breaking sports news. Yeah. So you're going to
No,
run
that's
for
breaking
office? Or?
Sumner news.
That's right.
Yes.
That would be breaking Sumner news, wouldn't it? I'd get some people scared if I did. Nah.
So,
that's
and now
not
every
like-
time people
I'm
ask you if you can come back and play left tackle for the Titans, you can just say, no, but I will run for mayor of Sumner County.
Yeah.
Nah, I
This
don't
is all
even-
adding up. His chats
Which
during
one
the
you gonna
break.
do?
See, this is how stuff like this happens
His
right
chats
here.
during the
dog.
break,
sorry.
Will.
That's right.
I see where this is going.
I'm good on the politics, man. I go talk to my guy right down the hallway. We're good on that one. That's not a life I want to live.
Injury report yesterday for the Titans at St. Thomas Sports Park. Terrell Basham, Dylan Cole, Christian Fulton, Amani Hooker, Nicholas Petit-Frere, Jeffrey Simmons were all limited. Danico Autry, Derrick Henry, and Josh Thompson were full participants. And corner Davante Harris with a hamstring issue, the only Titan who did not practice yesterday. Kayla was in the locker room talking to players for our Q&Ks this week that come a day early with the game coming up on Saturday instead of Sunday. And we're going to hear from Rashad Weaver here in a minute, Kayla, about what he had to say about his former Pitt teammate, Damar Hamlin, and just processing that whole situation. But what was the overall conversation like with all the Titans players yesterday in the locker room? Because it feels like pretty much everybody who did spoke on this at some length.
It was tough. I think as a reporter yesterday, I went into that locker room really just not knowing what to expect, and you have to kind of immediately read the room. And everybody is handling this different. Everybody has, different ways of handling these types of situations when they are a player in the NFL. And then you have guys like Rashad Weaver, who we didn't at the time know as much detail about how well he knew Damar. And then we later found out, how closely connected he is, not just as a player, but as a good friend. And Kevin Byard, who, talked about his mother and the passing of her last offseason because of cardiac arrest. So everybody has their different stories and how they handle things differently. They all handled it extremely well. I think that I give a lot of credit to the local media.
Yeah.
I think they handled themselves well in asking the right amount of questions, right?
Yes.
Because this is you're still preparing for a game, and these guys still have to be in the mindset of, we've got a huge game coming up as well. So it's just balancing for everybody yesterday in that locker room. But I thought everybody did a pretty good job of doing that. So, but it was different. The mood was different.
I even thought, like you said, Kayla, just real quick, giving credit where credit's due, the transition from being very serious to how our media here started talking football. I thought that was really good and respectful too. It wasn't just, all right, on to the next conversation. It wasn't that.
Right.
It was actually very peaceful, which it can get, it's like an alligator pit sometimes,
Yeah.
Well, here is the audio of Rashad Weaver and his conversation with the media yesterday at St. Thomas Sports Park. What he had to say talking about his former Pittsburgh teammate, Damar Hamlin.
Like most people, I was at home in my living room with one of my other good friends from college that I played football with, that also played with D. Ham. I was just at home in the living room watching the football game. Missed what exactly happened, but like 5 seconds later, seeing the first replay of it, and just kind of, just everybody else, just kind of sit there and hold your breath, figure out what's happening.
You played with Damar at Pitt. Just how much did you know him? I mean, what was this like, just since you guys played together for so long at Pitt?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't just play together. We're friends, teammates. I've known him now for 7 years. We both signed to Pitt 2016, same year. Both left for the draft 2020 or whenever it was, same year. And that's a guy I talk to, whether it be on social media, text, Snapchat, Twitter, anything, at least probably once a week, constantly just telling each other how we see each other doing our thing each week, playing. And, he has his own little clothing brand called Chasing M's. That's about, chasing your dreams and chasing millions. That's everybody's goal in a lot of things in life, is reaching your dreams and getting millions and take care of your family. I have my own dream, G2R, our own brand, and we just always interact and tell each other to keep going.
And what you didn't see, because I just felt like at that point I didn't want to show anymore, but, he got very emotional.
Yeah.
And those were Rhett and my question was the only ones that were answered at that point, just because it got very emotional for him and he needed that time to just be a human.
That was the most appropriate thing, Kayla. Thank you for doing that, because those moments, of course, people want to see that type of stuff, but sometimes, you know what? Just go with what you tell them. Like, he got emotional. And the human element of dealing with something like this, again, I know we play a hard sport, but guys are human too.
Yep.
Certainly. And the update yesterday from representatives from the family of Damar Hamlin, more information from his uncle, Dorian Glenn, who told ESPN's Coley Harvey outside the hospital Tuesday evening that Hamlin is sedated and improving from where he was yesterday, adding, "We are just continuing to pray. Know he is in great hands with the medical team he has here. They've been doing a tremendous job." His agent, Ron Butler, telling Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that his oxygen levels have improved. And he went on to say that Damar Hamlin had to be resuscitated twice, once on the field at Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati and once after he arrived at the hospital, adding there is some concern surrounding potential lung damage yesterday in conversations with ESPN's Jeremy Fowler.
Just hope the guy going to be okay in a sense where he can just have conversation with us about how he felt, what he felt, and the support and everything like that. What a great place to be at and support as far as the league goes too. I think at this point everybody just want to see he's up.
Yeah.
But whenever that breaking news happens, man, I pray that it does for him, for us, and for his teammates too.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part about being just a human being in general is like we always want the answer now. Like we always want the update now. And unfortunately, like this is in God's hands. It's going to play out, hopefully the way everybody wants it to. And you just have to sit and be patient and let that medical staff, by the way, we've heard his uncle say that, many of his family members say that, just doing an incredible job in Cincinnati with this young man.
Mike Vrabel telling the media yesterday that the entire team had a meeting before practice, before open locker room yesterday, just to discuss how it affected everybody in that room. And it seems, Kayla, like the Titans, when things like this happen, just in the world or in the NFL world, it's always an open dialogue with this team. And Mike Vrabel tends to just kind of open up the room for the captains and the leaders and the veterans to have an open conversation about these things.
And I think that's what's so important because it's always been there's got to be leaders on this team. The culture has been very good under Mike Vrabel, and since I've been here, which is 6 seasons. And so when you have something like this happen, you need those leaders to stand up, and whether it's share stories or share a connection or whatever it is to make everybody kind of feel like, okay, we're in this together. It can bring a locker room even closer. Unfortunately, tragedy can sometimes do that. And I know just everything that we heard from all these guys when we were talking about it yesterday, we're just praying for this man, and even if they didn't know him, it hits close to home for those guys who go out and play this game every Sunday.
Yeah.
So, but I thought getting them together before the day even started, Mike Vrabel, having those leaders talk was really important.
I wonder what does change moving forward, though, because there is an aspect of the game that can be one-sided. The defensive players can't lower their heads to go hit. And I know this is probably small item stuff for the bigger picture of what's actually in front of us, but it'll be interesting to see what the league does as far as offensive players dipping and running through players, too. And I know this was a situation we've never seen before.
Yeah.
But they tried that in like 2010, if I'm not mistaken, with running backs couldn't dip their heads and run over guys, you remember? And then it just kind of left. I saw Diggs do it earlier in the game, and I was excited to see it. I was like, ooh, football, But we'll see what happens. And also, shoulder pad technology.
You keep saying that too, right?
I'm huge on that. The athlete is not the same athlete as it was not even 10 years ago, y'all. Why are we still using the same technology 10 years? What do you have around you that's 10 years old for the most part right now? A car? Okay. Even that's probably had so many oil changes and different things that to update it. So equipment in football has to be checked on too.
Just like they've done with the helmets that they've incorporated now for certain practices that you see the Titans wearing, and they did all during training camp.
Coming up next, we take a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Second time we scout them on a scout meeting Wednesday, and the difference between Travis Etienne from the last matchup against the Titans and what he was able to do in a streak-breaking win against the Houston Texans. I had totally forgotten the streak that the Houston Texans had over the Jacksonville Jaguars that was broken over the weekend.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I did not know about this.
What? We'll get into that coming up next and take a look at the leadership of Josh Dobbs and how just knowing the names, but also knowing the routes, knowing the tendencies of his wide receivers could make an impact in round 2 in a teal out in Jacksonville.
Teal out. Those unis are not good.
They're not great,
like
Bob.
them.
Not great. We dive into Jacksonville, something that you like to just do in theory.
It's interesting.
Not actual, diving into Jacksonville. Coming up next on 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling here from my friends at Lee Company, and you hear me say all the time that Lee Company does it all. And we're talking about heating and air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical. And right now, you could save $20 on any service call, HVAC, plumbing, or electrical. We tell you that Lee Company is all you need, and it's true, because they've got nearly 80 years of experience offering a vast array of services. They're open 24/7 with 14 community locations here in Tennessee and in Kentucky and Alabama as well. Plus, they're involved in our communities with Little League, high school sports, local events, sponsorships, and so much more. So trust the folks who do it all at Lee Company with heating and air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical, and save $20 on your next service call by calling 615-567-1000, or you can schedule online at leecompany.com. That's 615-567-1000. Lee Company, all you need. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. I'm wishing that we were the cold part of this song, but alas, we are not. It's getting a little better in here, though.
Yeah, it is. It's getting a little bit better. I saw our guy Charlie Cook walk in the studio with Shafe over there. He was pointing at me with his Detroit slingo. I was like, Charlie, are you threatening me? Are you threatening me?
No, it's because you said that Charlie was a tough name, so he appreciated it.
Well, that's why he was pointing at me. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
You got to watch Charlie,
did you
man.
think because you were complaining about the heat?
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Clearly, you get the finger pointing from somebody from Detroit, you back up a little bit, be like, all right, where's security at? Where's the nearest exit?
This is a guilty pleasure song to me, I'm not going to lie. The song's so catchy. I also realized, too, that there are, like, times I'll be dancing to whatever song is on in the break, and Schaefer will, like, immediately turn on the camera.
I have
just
no
so
idea
everyone
what you're
sees.
talking
Yeah,
about.
it's,
To get the awkwardness of Will singing.
I love it.
the singing's not the problem, it's the dancing.
No, Will can sing.
No.
actually sing.
I'm saying the facial expression.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, it's not great.
So speaking of just like singing, my
Face for
wife was
radio.
showing me the Boys to Men, Wanye Morris, his kids have a group, One More is their
now,
name.
that's what we need.
All of
Yes.
them can friggin' sing.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how you just born with just waking up with just
I was
vocals?
born.
Because his daddy could sing.
It's all for them. Every single one of them. And they got a daughter, and an older daughter, and a young. I'm like, wait a minute.
But Moan, I mean, you come from a family of athletes.
I just never thought
Not really
singing
an
was one of
athlete.
those things.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It
I
is.
think that you
Not
can
really an athlete.
inherit
I hate y'all.
that gene.
I mean, my whole
don't know
family's
what the heck
musical.
it is.
But you see what I'm saying? Like you just
Yeah,
woke
yours is
up.
too.
My whole family's that way.
Mine is
you're-
too.
is
He's an
it
opera
really?
singer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got
Like
Claire.
all of us, yeah. Claire is Claire
best boy.
went to
Yes.
Eastman School of Music, like grad
Yeah.
school for vocal performance in New
What?
York. Yeah, my brother was in like a cappella group in high school. I was too. Like we all did musical theater. My dad was in the band at UT, so he's really musical. My mom is in like the church choir ever since I was a kid. Before that,
That was our thing, like choir. Like
Yeah,
my
straight
parent,
up.
my dad, my grandfather, my grandma. I was in the junior choir.
I'm just saying because there's some terrible singers out here. You know what I'm saying?
There
Like, hey,
Some
you.
terrible singers on the streets.
I like to use that joke. Hey, who sing that song? Well, let them sing it.
Yeah.
well,
Let's keep it that way.
But
you got to realize though, in Nashville,
yeah,
like we've got it really good as far as all that stuff.
Oh,
goes.
well, yeah.
Like the biggest difference between us and every other city is like random singers you hear in bars are like better here than they are literally anywhere.
That's a great point, Will, because anytime I go anywhere in a different city
Yeah.
and they go live music, I will keep myself away from
Straight up,
whatever venue
100%.
has live music if I'm on the road.
And I do the same here when I'm like in the library and it's like, we've got live music coming up for the next 2 hours.
Like
I'm
the coffee shop
I just
across
wanted
the street will occasionally have live music. I won't go in.
It's like, this is a coffee shop.
Wow.
I come here to escape music.
Unless it's Jewel performing at the coffee shop. It's
Jewel?
not happening.
Jewel?
Well, it's because she was a coffee house artist.
Ah.
The more you know.
okay. What about at B&A? Y'all stopping to listen to the people at like
No.
Tootsie's and stuff?
Absolutely.
No.
Bro,
Unless it's
I live
Morgan
here.
Alexander who used to work at the station. If
What
he was
the-
doing that, then yes. Shout out to Morgan who plays down at Old.
Yo, man.
Y'all just crushed so many people's
the
dreams.
people that-
right?
No, I just
not at
don't.
all.
No.
We live here. It's not for us.
Oh, look, I'll crush it. I got no problem.
It was like, no, I got to get to my gate. I'm not about to listen to this. This wannabe.
Well, speaking of hot and cold, that is the contrast of Jacksonville and Tennessee this Saturday.
I was wondering how
in-
you were going to link that all in. That was good. You did good there, Will.
Not my worst, not my best.
It was fine.
Adequate.
Fine, ellipses, question mark.
Oh,
Adequate.
God.
It's like when Michael is at dinner with Helene and Pam and Jim, and he realizes how old Helene is, so he's trying to get out of the relationship.
That was me.
And he just
Michael.
gave her
How
her
old
birthday
is
present.
old?
I don't
She
remember
was-
what even she was.
She a cougar?
No. She had
She was
kids.
older than Michael. Like, Pam was her daughter, and so he gives her birthday present.
What was it, 55?
Think so. I don't remember.
okay.
I don't remember.
Okay.
But he gives her birthday present, and then he's trying to get out of the relationship at this point. And Pam is like, "You killed it, Michael." And he's like, "That." And she just goes, "Home run." And he just goes, "That was a bunt."
Oh.
It was adequate. It was fine. That's how I feel. Anyway,
Okay.
They would be
everything's
saying
an
if that
office
was
quote.
J-Lo.
Oh, yeah,
There's
I
my,
know.
Sorry.
She stay on the market.
If you're playing RKW bingo, there's my office quote for the
Very
day.
bad.
So fill in
I
that
was going to
space.
say that because I was like, how many more are we going to get into today's show?
I mean, we got 2.5
We are
hours left.
random today.
We
Let's
are
just say
random
that.
today. We'll
great.
bring it
It's the
in.
best arcade dub.
You're welcome.
It is the best arcade dub.
Random
like
with a
this.
capital R.
So the Jacksonville Jaguars, through 8 games this season, were 2-6 after a 5-game October losing streak. They were trailing the Titans at that point by 3.5 games. Ramon, when you look at this team from the beginning of the season, when you were a believer in them while they were still 2-6,
Yeah.
what's the biggest thing that's changed?
I actually, in my notes, I switched it up this week as far as scout meeting wins. I went and did a Jags reflection just to go back to where I said then versus what's happening now.
Did you look at the audio?
No, I have my notes.
Oh, you
I
had your notes.
I
Okay.
saved my notes down. I'm trying to be a little J journalist around here. You know
Hey,
what I'm saying?
you know what?
I don't want to just spew stuff out
15 more
here.
years, you'll get there.
15 more years?
Bro, this is my, 17th, 16th?
All
I don't
right, say
even know.
less. Yeah, that's why we put a big J next
right.
to Kayla.
That's right.
But my Jags reflection said this, and I put real down.
Okay.
At the time, they were averaging 26.3 points a game. Now they're currently averaging 24. At the time that put them 6th in the league, they're now 11th in the league, the way this goes. I said their defense was nice. I said, although they're 2-2, they're only giving up 16.8 points a game. That puts them 4th in the league at that time. War of attrition kind of happens. Now they're giving up 20.9. They're 11th in the league. They found some balance. That 5-game skid probably ruined them a little bit. I put their top 10 offense and D. A stable head coach and Doug Peterson will help a lot. This is why I said they were real at the time, too. With that being said, now currently the Jacksonville Jaguars are 11th as far as points scored in this league, and they are 12th in overall defensive points scored in this league, too. It kind of just worked itself out with what they had in front of them. They have a Super Bowl assembled coaching staff offensively with their offensive coordinator, Press Taylor, who's on that Philly team. Also, Tennessee legend Jim Bob Cooter is on their staff.
There it is.
At the time, the losses were to the Commanders and Eagles, and they smoked the Colts and Chargers. Trevor Lawrence at the time, 65.7%. I think he's up to 69% passing. Still had a low ratio of 8 touchdowns to 2 touchdowns at the time. Now he's 24-7, if I'm not mistaken, on touchdowns. 24-8. 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And then I just continued on with what they had going. Josh Allen's that guy, 3 sacks at the time. QB hits, he's still high in that. And just a roster. A lot of young talent. A lot of guys that didn't play a whole lot last year. Travis Etienne now has found his stride. 1,000-yard rusher on the season so far this season. And they were really talented. That's the one thing I kept saying about them. They're really talented. This isn't a brag session when it comes down to the Jags. It's just that what I saw, how they built up their team and what they are. Now, currently, AFC South leaders at 8-8.
Yeah. Wow.
So here we go.
Hey, you're feeling good about yourself a little bit.
It's not even just that. I really just want to say like the comparisons of what one had versus another. When we're speaking about the Titans and the Jags in the sense of their biggest attribute has just simply been the roster.
Yes.
Am I wrong in saying that?
Well, and I think just Doug Peterson has been a world of a difference.
Yes.
As a head coach.
That's very
true. And moving this team forward in the right direction.
Yeah. And with that being said, winners of the last 5 of 6 and 6 of the last 8 is what their last second half of the season has looked like. They got wins against the Ravens, Jets, and Cowboys in overtime. They got up on Houston quick last week, and they pulled their starters. They are game ready is what I put at the end of that quote, simply because they got reps on the field.
Yep.
It wasn't like it was an entire rest. They got 21-0. We talking about passing sticks against the Texans, and now they're ready for this weekend. Offense, they're scoring 24 points per game, 12th in the league. In the last six games, they've averaged 28 points per game. And the last 2 weeks also, defensively, they've only given up 3 points. Now, it was low competition, but
still,
if you can blanket somebody and not let them get a touchdown, that holds a whole lot of stock in this league. Trevor Lawrence has gotten better also. 66.5% passing percentage, 3,900 yards. Again, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's taking care of the ball. I did say, and you watch his film, he will throw a phantom pass that should be intercepted. He's done it in almost every game I've seen. It's a matter of who's going to be Johnny on the spot to take advantage of it. That's where Byard comes into play. That's where Byard got him last year, if I'm not mistaken. Just he throws that phantom pass. Like, what were you thinking there, Trevor? But that's just him. Also has 294 yards on the ground rushing, 5 touchdowns. Along with that, rushing touchdown, sacks 26 times. Not bad for a guy who's lost his left tackle, too. Travis Etienne, 1,100 yards on the ground, breakaway speed. We saw that last week. He's averaging 5.2 a carry. Is also a threat in the passing game, but he does have 5 fumbles, too. Got to claw and fight this week, man. Christian Kirk, put next to him, justified the deal.
Right. Who wasn't, though, the problem for the Titans the last time? It was
not.
Eric Ebron, the tight end.
Yeah.
And really,
Evan Ingram.
Excuse me. And then Zay Jones.
Yeah, and that's where we're headed. But Christian Kirk, 1,000 yards on the season, 7 touchdowns. No, he has the speed to kill. That's why I worry as far as the Titans goes.
Yeah.
Even if he's not getting the ball, who's going to cover him on the back end? And that's where Evan Ingram came into play last time. They stretched the field.
They brought up Evan Ingram yesterday in the locker room, just kind of specifically asking some of these guys, like, what he did last time.
Yeah.
Like, how do you prevent something like that? Because that was kind of a big breakout in a way for him.
It was.
Considering that guy was, I think, considering retirement.
Yeah, and this is where he was before that. Like, he didn't really have much on the season. He's been on the tear as of late. The last 6 weeks have been 4 yards, 30 yards, 162 against the Titans, 62, 113, and 61 with 3 touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, he's only got 5 touchdowns on the season. So in the last 6 weeks, he's freaking crushed it. But then you also got Zay Jones, their number 2, 115 targets, 5 touchdowns, 800 yards, and he also has that longest reception of 59 yards on the season. Also throwing the mix, Marvin Jones, another solid threat. He's a true number 3.
He had a good game.
He did have a good game.
Last week.
75 targets, 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. So it's not like he's killing it. He's playing his role as being a very solid number 3. O-line in general, solid since Cam Robinson's been out. There's really been no big drop-off. And their defense also on the other side of it. 20.9 points per game, puts them 12 in the league. They are balanced. They have a balanced offense and defense. Their players are just who they are. They don't have a guy that's specifically sticking out. They have a team of guys that's really playing tight football, man. I put earlier in the season, they're one of those teams. They have given up a lot of rushing yards, although they've clamped that down as of late. Foye Oluokun, solid. I think he's got 171 tackles on the season. Their middle linebacker, Josh Allen, have to watch him. Although I will say this OL played very well last weekend against the Cowboys, and I was one of the first ones to say it's going to be a long day for that OL, and it wasn't. I will say this, too. It's been a lot mild weather here as far as it being cool. Going down to Jacksonville, I'd be interested to know what the weather is, because transitioning from this winter weather in Tennessee to maybe it can be humid as heck in Jacksonville, that could present a problem for teams. I know when we went to Miami to play, whether it was early or whether it was late, man, I hope it ain't no humidity.
That's interesting. So just like if they went to go play in Buffalo, Miami went to play in Buffalo in the cold.
Yeah, but I'd say the heat kicks your butt a whole lot worse.
Okay.
It just doesn't. And it's going to be a rowdy crowd. It's going to be nasty. Dwayne Smoot's on IR as far as the last report goes. Safeties are solid. Rayshawn Jenkins and Andre Sisco. Playmakers on their defense. And Trayvon Walker. He's one of those guys that's a disruptor, and he hasn't been able to close out on specializing in sacks. But he's a guy that's big up front, able to get after the quarterback and flush it out for somebody else.
Well, Travis Etienne had his longest rush of the season, a 62-yard touchdown last weekend against the Houston Texans. And the Jags' 21-0 lead at halftime was their largest lead at half since Week 15 of 2017 against the Texans. Did you guys know that was the last time they defeated Houston?
Really?
Wow. So
they hadn't
this
beaten Houston
streak.
since 2017 in Week 15. Houston.
That's
Like
crazy.
the Texans.
They've been bad for that long, though. Like the Houston has.
And so has Jacksonville.
Wow.
I mean, it's easy to forget now that Jacksonville's had the number 1 overall pick a couple years in a row.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, they had Trevor, they had Trayvon Walker, and Trevor has lived up to that expectation. But just because Houston's been bad, Jacksonville's been worse.
They've been worse.
The biggest thing
Crazy.
they've said in that locker room is they've learned how to win. And Ramon, I think the biggest thing that scares me about this team, they don't just have one path to victory. they can win shootouts.
Yeah.
That defense is stingy enough where they can beat you defensively and turn you over. I mean, the Titans saw that the last time they played them. Jacksonville's best strategy and best path to victory is playing in a shootout because they've got the quarterback that can sling it a little bit, that can outperform whoever you have at quarterback. But make no mistake, this defense now is young and talented enough where they can win a grinded out game too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's the thing about them, that by them being so young and talented, Will, they don't know what they don't know at these points. That's one of those things where you just see a young guy just making plays like, man, God, he don't even realize what he's doing. That's their team. And that's honestly how they play on Sundays too. Like, you watch their defensive line stunts and how they move around and how they attack. Like, they will get out in bad positions because of that, and teams can screen them. But they got guys on the back end as far as their safeties and linebackers that can get to you too. They playing with like lawless, like reckless abandonment right now is where they are. They don't care how they're getting it done, Will, and that's the scary part about them, as you said. For them to play the Cowboys and beat them the way they did, they drug them to the deep end.
Right.
They really played the Cowboys like the Titans play everybody else, what we're used to seeing them. Slow walk you, drag you to the deep end, and then we're going to pounce on you whenever we have that opportunity. That's what they did to them on that pick six.
Well, and it's like, what did they have to lose this year? Because you come into this year kind of having to do repair work from when Urban Meyer was there, and having to kind of redo in terms of development some of these younger guys. And the fans, let's be honest, are not expecting anything right now. And then to do what they did this year, you're exactly right. They're going out there and just being like, we're just having fun. We're just playing.
Yeah.
Like, where there's no pressure.
No pressure. Who expected this with a new coach?
Right. And then on the opposite end with the Titans, like, look, their fans, they want more right now. They expect more right now.
That pressure is there, as you said, Kayla. That's what you're saying. Like, they're playing with no pressure. That's the worst thing about it. That's why I always say, like, you don't worry about the starter. You worry about the backup coming in, because that guy's like, man, I'm a bonus. And that's what Jacksonville is right now. They're bonus.
When you take a look at the numbers for Jacksonville's defense against the Houston offense last weekend, the yards per play are impressive. And when their starters were on the field, they were really disruptive and scored quickly on defense against the Texans offense over the weekend. We look at the defense that Josh Dobbs will be tasked with facing on Saturday night in Jacksonville, and hear from the quarterback of the Titans as he talks about becoming more of a leader and honestly just learning the names of his teammates for this AFC South battle. That's next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
If you have a wet basement or crawl space, it's time for you to call United Structural Systems. We've all heard about these guys for a long time, and for good reason. They've served Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they've helped thousands of satisfied residential customers. They are the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. And if you have a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with that. Water intrusion and moisture can give you all sorts of problems down the road, and you want to get it fixed. It could be because you have poor drainage or surface water flooding over the walls, or underwater pressure forcing water into your basement. It could be a plumbing leak. You just don't know. But the team at United Structural Systems will find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space and will give you a plan to fix it. If you decide to move forward, listen, you don't pay a dime until the work is done and you are satisfied. Get that free estimate from the people I trust. Go to USSTN.com. Again, USSTN.com. Or call them 615-227-2275. United Structural Systems.
The 2023 Nashville Boat Show coming to the Music City Center January 5th. That's tomorrow through the weekend. And 104.5 The Zone has your chance to win tickets. To sign up, visit 1045thezone.com/contests today.
Praise is pouring in on Twitter.com this morning. At Ramon Kayla Will is where you can follow us, where Just Andrew tweets a video of me dancing. It says, we all wonder why Will can't get a girlfriend. Even the woo girls would laugh at these dance moves.
Wow!
I regret nothing.
That's cold.
You know what? We're just going to
absolutely
BS
nothing.
in here.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've had some stanky faces on here that they're now clipped and put on Twitter. You know what? That's me. What do you want? What do you want to do? Will, you're just dancing. You're just being you.
Just having a good time, man.
Just vibing.
It's just having a good time.
Yeah,
That's
the
all.
haters
You'll
and
find
losers are
that
sick.
person in life.
It's just vibes. That's all.
Ramon's just on his phone.
Nah, sending you that email. That's all. Look, like I definitely got caught. I said the Music City Musical, okay? There's nothing worse than that.
What are you talking
Musical.
I was talking about the music, like the Music City Miracle, and
Music City Musical.
and I dropped that.
Makes me laugh every single time.
And it doesn't leave this station.
That button's been there for over 2 years.
It
The
has,
Music City
man.
Musical.
Music City
That's
Musical
why-
starring
listening
Ramon
a lot.
Foster.
Yeah, man. I'm just like, you know what? Certain things in this world, you just gotta accept it, okay? Look, all right. I messed it up. It's cool. You know what?
Freaking
You're
bum.
not gonna shame me. Yeah.
I was listening
Twitter
to that
fingers.
live when it happened, and it's like Schaefer didn't know you, hadn't worked
That's
with you long
awesome.
enough yet to just clown you in the moment. So he waited until the coast was clear, then he clowned you.
You got to remember, we'd only been working for like 2 or 3 weeks.
We were.
The Music City Musical.
And here I
That was still pandemic land. That was in 2020.
Oh,
And
jeez.
well, I was a kid watching that play. I remember that play, and I was just like,
Were
you
you
know
singing
what?
Music City Musical.
Singing along with it, too.
Let me tell y'all, man. That first month on the job,
He's got something.
that's
He's got something.
Oh, we have a clip of Mike Keith
I know. I've heard that
in
too.
hysterics
Yeah.
about the Music City Musical.
yeah,
Because
man.
I think he made the same joke I just did, actually.
And I basically said we're gonna go to T-Pack and make a play out of it. I tried to flip it.
Actually, I don't know if that's
There are
not
no
kind of a good
flags on
idea.
the
That's what I'm saying. But
field.
Kayla, that first month on the job was treacherous. I
terrific.
dropped that. That was bad. Okay, and I'm sure. Oh my gosh. Hey, we're family now. Okay, in the chat.
That
there
was.
a
Oh, was that
portion-
not a time?
I didn't realize, okay, as the Jags hate week right now, the hate for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You understand me in this market? I was just like, yo, I'm paid to do a job. I'm going to do the job. Like, let me do the job first. Like, I was fired by a lot of the fan base before I even got here. I was,
But look at where you are now, Mullen.
Look at us
where
now.
am
You're
I?
all grown up.
You've learned how to say Steeler instead of Stiller. It's great.
Yeah, hey, listen.
Music City Musical? I'm going to have a musical? Oh, yes. I've always wanted one.
I just tried to flip it, Kayla.
Oh, that's
That was a
great.
treacherous, first
And that was
month.
with Mike Keith.
Yeah, I was lost out here, man.
Yeah,
That's-
Mike was on Zoom because we were the only show that was in the building.
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
that period.
Yeah.
Building.
The musical, we're gonna have to get tickets. T-Pack, I know y'all listening. Let's
Big
get
T
that.
Pack.
Let's
That's
do
right.
it.
Music City Musical.
See,
Will and I would love to be in it if you would
I
cast
gotta
us.
be in it now.
Yeah.
I'll be the young high schooler.
You'll be like that deep voice in the background.
And this is where the history of the Music City Miracle goes. Y'all got quiet right there.
I
Must
love
have
it.
been good.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're just making sure it can be recorded for
I'm
later.
just
You did
smiling.
really good work for Vol Films, but that one wasn't it, bro.
Yeah, I dropped that one. I ain't lived it down yet. Yeah.
Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense that will battle with Josh Dobbs. This one, I mean, there is no transition for this one. Man, the Texans averaged 2.8 yards per play. They were not. There was no music, no string music for the Houston Texans offense. It was just
no, that didn't work.
well, no, it was the music you would hear in a horror movie
No
because
thanks.
there was nothing.
No.
33 snaps on 8 first half possessions for Houston.
No, baby.
5 punts, 2 fourth down stops, and a defensive touchdown for Jacksonville against Houston. Josh Dobbs talked to the media yesterday, and Mike Vrabel was complimentary of his leadership, of the way that he's gotten to know these guys pretty quickly. And that seems to be the second step after just learning the offense before his first start last week.
I mean, you're always the leader at the quarterback position, so I wouldn't say it's any different, right? Whether you're the starting quarterback or you're the two, there's just so much pressure, right? Because when you're the backup, now it's like, hey, you have to really emulate the offense that we're seeing perfectly because we need to see as many good reps as we can before the game comes. So at the quarterback position, the pressure's already there, always there. It's always on your shoulder. You're always a leader. You're always viewed in the leadership role. So for me, I just be myself, take it one day at a time.
What did Mike tell you, and maybe what has kind of gone through your mind in the 24, 40 hours since, as far as excitement level for Saturday?
Yeah, the game and obviously the magnitude of the game, right? Everything around it. It's what you dream of playing in NFL football. You want to play meaningful football, especially in December and January, right? You want to play in those playoff games. So you want to be a part of that. So I've watched and been a part of teams that have been a part of that. So to play in it, there's a lot of excitement around it, but also there's also recognition in the preparation, right? The lead up to it, the maximizing today being Tuesday, a Wednesday practice, maximizing those reps.
So there's Josh Dobbs talking to the media and getting into a routine here in Tennessee, but also thought it was funny. He mentioned, I've always been on the other side of the sideline from Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And it's going to be nice being on the same side of this game with him.
I know, because he did not get to play with Derrick Henry in that last game because, Derrick sat out in that game. So it'll be cool to have, him back there and kind of see that dynamic and how they try to balance that, right? Because you had Hassan Haskins, and he's a young kid. He's a rookie, and y'all know what Derrick's past is against the Jags and down in his hometown down there. So I think it'll be fun for him to play with Josh Dobbs. And I just give Josh Dobbs a lot of credit for coming in here, acting like a pro since day one. He doesn't show any type of nervousness or hesitation to anything. I mean, he's just come in, learned the playbook, gained instant, respect from his teammates. And I just loved it. Most of the teammates that we go and talk to, the first thing they say about Josh Dobbs is, isn't he like an astronomical or an astronaut? And they know it's something really smart, but they just don't know the exact, major. But it's pretty funny.
I've told the story that when I had tutoring next to Josh in the Thornton Center freshman year at UT, and I had my mandatory political science 101 tutoring where I'm learning about the Bill of Rights. And then next to me, Josh Dobbs learning how to put a rocket on Mars. Like the whiteboard problems he would be doing would blow your mind.
It's crazy.
It's very weird. Coming up next, halftime of the show as we continue to update you on Damar Hamlin's status at this point and his recovery from injury on Monday Night Football. As the NFL reacts, Cincinnati Bengals president Mike Brown comments, but Mike Tomlin as well. With some poignant things to say about Hamlin, a kid that he's known since he was 12 years old, being from Pittsburgh. We'll tell you about the NFL's reaction over the past couple of days and the past 24 hours, and the latest on if and when we're going to see that game or any other coming up in the next couple of days. That's next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will at halftime on 104.5 The Zone.
8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin remains hospitalized and in critical condition after suffering cardiac arrest on the field during Monday Night Football in Cincinnati. On Tuesday, his family released a statement thanking the public for its support and continued prayers. Titans linebacker Rashad Weaver was teammates with Hamlin in college at Pittsburgh.
And that's a guy I talk to, whether it be on social media, text, Snapchat, Twitter, anything, at least probably once a week, constantly just sit telling each other how we see each other doing our thing.
Titans are in preparations for Saturday's division title game at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Only cornerback Davante Harris did not practice. Christian Fulton, Amani Hooker, Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Jeffrey Simmons, among others, were limited participants yesterday. Danico Autry, Derrick Henry, and Josh Thompson were full go. Men's college basketball last night, number 8 Tennessee routed Mississippi State 87-53. Vanderbilt defeated South Carolina 83-79 in overtime. And to the ice, the Nashville Predators doubled up the Montreal Canadiens 6-3. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on into hour number 3 this morning. Happy Wednesday, Music City. With the Bode Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling, the best producer in the world, recording everything we say and making the show happen.
The best producer in the world!
Of the world, Craig. The world.
Depends on who you ask, really. But if we ask you and you say anything different, then we don't care about your opinion. His name's Jonathan Schaefer. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in on a show that has been a little bit everywhere, but has gone quickly.
That's us for you.
It has. I've enjoyed it, though.
Yeah, 8 o'clock already?
It doesn't feel quite as warm in here anymore. I think the AC either might be working or just the cold air from outside is just...
Hey, squeaky wheel gets the
making its way
oil.
in.
I'm enjoying this.
I think it helps that the main entrance on the side of the building's been open since 6 a.m. this morning. So
make sure no raccoons come in here now.
This is what winter in Tennessee should feel like. This is fantastic. Not in here.
You think this is what it should? I hate this. I hate this type of weather.
Really?
What do you mean, like the rain part or just the gloominess part?
No, just the in between. If it's hot, is it cold? Like I want to wear like my
Katy
cruise
Perry.
shirt. Yes, like Haiti, definitely. Which one is she then? She hot or? Oh, never
she's
mind.
hot.
She's hot. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that one's pretty obvious.
I just had to make sure.
Glad I could clarify that for y'all.
I needed you to say that,
You're
Kayla.
welcome.
But what I was saying is like, don't give me like 58. Like, give me like 40s. Give me 40s, 30s at night. That's the Tennessee winter to me.
See, I love any weather that I can either wear short sleeves and like sweatpants or like a jacket and shorts. I'm a big jacket and shorts guy. Literally right now.
I don't even get the point of that, Will.
Oh, man. Why I got to dress for both weather types in the morning?
Now, wait a minute. I'm a hoodies and shorts guy, but that's if I'm at the beach on the West Coast.
Yeah, that's true. The Oregon coast specifically.
Or on the verge of like fall to winter.
Well, summer to fall.
I know, I did
like
too.
The sweatshirt and the shorts.
But like when it hits winter to me, designated to just light sweatshirts and jeans, or like I can wear my like the jogger suit or something like that. Don't give me 68 in middle of January is all I'm saying. And I know I can't control this.
Well, unless you're going to seek 68 or 70.
Feel me, Kayla? But in the mornings it'll be 32.
Yeah.
So how do I dress
How
for
do
that?
you dress? That's right.
Come on,
I
man.
get you on that.
That was rough at UT walking up the hill.
That's what did it
where
to
you
me.
would leave for class in the morning and it would be in the 30s, but then you would get home from class and it'd be in the 50s. And you'd have to walk up the hill in like your big sweatshirt that you wore in the morning. and you'd be sweating. So you'd have to take that thing
I've
off
had
and
a lot
carry
of
it the
people
rest of the
say
day.
the past couple of weeks because we were wearing beanies in the studio.
Yeah.
And people were like, is it that cold in the studio? And prior to this week,
Yes.
sometimes it was.
Right.
But number two, when we're leaving the house, it could be in the 30s. Just because it's 50 or 60 some degrees by the time you're getting to work.
Yeah.
It's a little chilly when we're leaving.
Yeah.
I also learned that I can wear that hat and I don't have to wear a jacket.
Well,
Oh,
see, pro tip.
because everything.
See, I would-
keep the heat
It's
in.
at the head, yeah.
I would do that on runs in like 30-degree weather, where I would go shirtless with long tights, sleeves, gloves, and a hat.
Oh.
Keep the extremities warm.
This guy.
Oh, really?
Will Bowling.
Perfect.
But I like the cold weather, but like I don't like dressing overly cold too. Like my wife got me this great like North Face jacket. I probably worn it like 5 times because I'm like to get in the car with the big jacket
Telling
on.
on yourself,
And I'm like, yeah, I know. Well, I wear it. I wore it when it was like 1 degrees outside though.
There you go.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of that big North Face Louis Vuitton jacket that Derrick Henry wore the other day.
It was Gucci.
Gucci. I'm sorry, Derrick. It's the King's birthday.
Is it
Oh,
Derrick's
it's
It's
birthday?
Derrick Henry's birthday. Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Derrick. Capricorns, man. It's a great month, baby.
Go get you some on Saturday, Derrick.
mean?
Let's go.
And that's my birthday too. Let's go, Derrick.
Wait.
We're doing birthdays today.
Because
It's my
you're
brother's
Saturday.
birthday.
Mine Saturday.
really?
Yep. Absolutely.
Look at all these great
My
peeps
brother's
this
birthday's
week.
today.
Your brother's birthday today,
Yeah,
Shay?
big number today too, bro.
What, 4-0?
5-0.
5-0. Man,
Big
happy birthday to
today.
your brother.
That's like the new 30.
It is. No,
is.
for real.
Kaylee,
It
yours is coming up.
Kayla's is not coming
Yeah,
up.
as the only one on this show
Is it not?
over 40,
Kayla's is
y'all
in
can
May.
stick it.
I thought
Yours
it
is
was.
in
Oh,
May?
okay. So you keep because you were telling us, good Lord,
Yeah.
about your trip in
Yeah,
February.
with my friends. Yeah.
So I thought that was okay.
No,
never mind.
May. There'll
You didn't
be
tell us
another
that.
celebration in May.
Celebration?
Celebration. I've been
What
right
day-
on this morning, haven't
What
I?
day are you again?
May 24th.
24th. I was going to guess
That's a
25th.
good time of the year.
Yeah.
Right
That
before
is.
Memorial Day.
It is a good time of the
That's
year.
really good.
Love that.
Starts to heat up a
That's
little.
solid.
Mm-hmm. It does. You see, then I can wear a hoodie with shorts. Then, you feel me?
That's usually right around the
that's right.
time we get our random cold week in the spring. Is usually the beginning of May.
Well, there's been many times where it's
The
been
end of May,
summer,
it's
the
fine.
beginning of May.
Oh, that's right.
We had a good spring last year.
We really
We
did.
did.
Yeah. It was
So,
good.
It was nice.
have we just recently, yesterday and the day before, had our winter storm that usually come through? Was that
well, but you
There's
usually
usually
have
two.
one in January and sometimes early
it? No, I'm
March.
speaking
Early
like
March.
tornado threat. That one. We
Oh,
usually
yeah,
have
that's-
one
that's
November,
about right.
December,
Yeah,
January.
that's about right.
Oh,
Okay.
usually you get
That's-
about 2 of
There's-
each.
Yeah.
Because usually it's coldest here in January.
Right.
Like December is you're kind of still heating up, like you're kind of going back and forth, and then January is like the freezing. Last time it
Like
was
there's been
freezing. here, it was
Januaries where the beginning of January, like this one, you have the thunderstorms, and then by
Right.
the end of January, you have a snowstorm.
Yes,
Ice storm.
correct.
And then it's that March time, end of February, that gets dangerous. For
It is.
when those
End of February,
tornadoes.
early March is also when you're looking at icy conditions.
There was the year I was driving home for the SEC tournament for spring break, and it was snowing on the way home.
Golly.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, just wait 5 minutes around here.
Happy birthday, Derek Henry.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Awesome.
Stephen A. Smith will send his best for during
give me a
Buck
minute,
show.
we'll
today.
find that.
Okay, perfect. I love a good Stephen A. Smith cut for sure. Well, Mike Tomlin had the chance to talk to the media yesterday, and Ramon, we talked about this with Ryan Shazier, and just even with Ryan Clark's situation, how Mike Tomlin is one of those guys like Mike Vrabel, who is always going to err on the side of caution when it comes to the head injuries. Mm-hmm. And specifically, he's pretty vocal about protecting players. And I don't know if you got the chance to hear what he had to say yesterday, Ramon, but it was impressive, just the perspective that he had on Damar Hamlin. And he's one of the first coaches I think of when things like this happen and the Tua concussion situation happens. Not just because of you, but I feel like he's just kind of known as one of the kind of caretaker coaches in this league.
He is, man, and I heard his words yesterday to Hamlin, and even Lucas came in yesterday. He was just like, "Man, Mike Tomlin." I think he was talking about like the game in a sense and how they pulled it off, but he's just one of those guys. He's good with his thoughts, his words, and if you ever been around him and have conversations, football conversations, you'll see he cares about players.
Yeah.
Not just players on his own team.
Others.
I've seen him go to other like players on the opposite sidelines like, "Hey, I love what you're doing, man. You keep doing." I'm like,
Awesome.
I got a face this dude in a second, man.
Right?
Why are you bigging him up right now? But to hear him say how his son and Hamlin had trained together, DeMar Hamlin had trained together, like I probably saw them on our practice fields because they have access to an NFL facility. His kid plays at Maryland right now. And I know that group of kids, they used to come work out in the summertime after we were done with our stuff. So I'm sure I ran across him before he was even at Pitt.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Real quick, is Pitt and the Steelers, is that a close-knit kind of family?
Right next door to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had heard that.
It is a tight-knit family. Like, the coaches communicate with one another. They can't talk to the players, but they see it. He was asked this past week about Kenny Pickett. He was just like proximity. It's like, I've seen this guy all of his career. So they share a building together.
Okay.
Yep.
That's got to be a double-edged sword, though, doesn't it?
It can be. It can be because you see, and for good and bad reasons. One, you got to really follow the rules and how you go about stuff. And you kind of see us peeking over, a coach is peeking over to a guy that they have over there or two. And I remember him specifically saying, I saw Aaron Donald and I knew he was going to be that guy, but I knew we weren't going to be afforded to draft him. Like he was one of the earlier ones I ever heard anybody speak about Aaron Donald, Coach Thomas. Like I said, he roots for guys, man. You have some people that are just football purists.
Yeah.
That's how I would kind of label him in a sense.
That's how he comes across.
Yeah.
Genuine as heck.
No lie, I saw him go over to like Carlos Dunlap and just other players on other teams like Coach T.
Yep.
We got to play these dudes. Why are you congratulating them on everything they've done?
We do not care.
It's pretty much what he told me. Go play ball more.
Yeah, exactly. Sit down.
Well, here's Mike Tomlin yesterday, a man who has known DeMar Hamlin for a long time, commenting on this situation and on him.
Man, it's a really personal thing for me, being a Pittsburgher, and that young man being a Pittsburgher. I've known that guy probably since he was about 12. Just got a lot of respect and love for him as a human being, his commitment to the pursuit of his goals and dreams of doing what it is he's doing right now, which is playing in the NFL, and to watch him make personal decisions and make that a realization. It's just an honor to get to know young people like that.
And there's Mike Tomlin with his comments on DeMar Hamlin yesterday, and they don't make them like that anymore, you feel like, in coaching sometimes. Mike Tomlin is old-fashioned in a positive sense.
Yeah.
He ultimately cares about the human being, and I know all coaches do to an extent, but you hear Mike Tomlin talk, he almost sounds like a high school coach, and I mean that as a compliment, like in the way that he talks about kind of his guys, like you hear a high school coach talking about their kids.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I've told you guys like numerous times, like the relationship I have with him is not just player-coach, it's like personal. I give him that uncle term.
Okay.
More than anything, he's the uncle that you can go holler at, but don't step out of line.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, uncle, man, I got a situation. Okay, we can fix it. You know, but if you don't tell him about it beforehand, it's like, oh, it's going to be hell to pay. And that's how he approaches guys. And like you said, well, saying that ain't a bad thing. I know Terry Bradshaw came out a few years back by saying, oh, he's a cheerleader coach. In this day and era, and almost any client in sports, you got to be able to, like, relate to guys, right?
Yeah.
And that's a specialty of his that he really maximizes to the core because he pulls a lot out of players, too.
Well, even with this season that they've had, which has been one of their worst in
Yeah,
recent memories,
it is.
and they're still able to kind of start to turn things around. I mean, that's such a credit to what he's able to do in terms of just keeping those guys galvanized and, you know, keeping Kenny Pickett kind of on that track as a rookie.
Locked in.
Yeah, locked in.
Hey, Bo, they're 8-8. It's a bad season.
It's a bad
But it's nuts, though, but it's true.
It is true. And that's just them. And one of the things he does, he finds a way to highlight, like, the small item things that a person brings to the game. One of the biggest things he's ever told me in my career that kind of made me okay with how I went about my career was, he was like, Mo, it was like at the end of my second contract, and I was trying to figure out what was next for me. He was like, Mo, you're going to be fine, and we're going to do everything we can to bring you back. He was like, because you have a talent that not a lot of other people have, and we utilize it more than you realize. Like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, I'm strong, I played well, all those. He's like, Mo, you have a talent that nobody ever gives credit. I was like, what? It's like your mental toughness.
Yep.
He's like, everything that we tell you or say you couldn't do, you've done it.
Yep.
He was like, everything to achieve. He was like, the same way this joker can go lift 500 pounds and run a 4.3, it's like your level of mental toughness, I don't think other players could stomach. And it made me okay with where I was as a player in my career. And I was just like,
I knew you had some longevity for that.
how do you even bring that?
Right.
How do you even see that? You know, nobody brings up that type of intangible.
Coming up next, it's top 7 and bottom 3 of the NFL this week. Week 17 going into the final week of the regular season. Our normal Tuesday segment moved to Wednesday this morning as Ramon gives us his best and worst in the National Football League. We'll see how many AFC South teams are in the bottom 3 this week. On Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
And happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Ramon Foster, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged joint tissue so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain, or if you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in this new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as the next week. So make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. And you can reach out to them at 615-249-4024. Again, the number is 615-249-4024.
I think it's heating up at the 104.5 The Zone studios once again because Robert Walsh is here.
Let's go, Bird.
Welcome back to Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. The beauty of us having the door open in the studio this morning,
we invite in friends.
we can just pull in whoever we want.
Oh, I wonder who we caught on the line today. I wonder what did we get out of the sky today.
We bring in local Baltimore Ravens expert Robert Walsh this morning. Good morning, Robert Walsh.
What do y'all want? I mean, I got stuff to do. Y'all gonna drag me in here to dog me in front of everybody.
No, you don't.
Now listen.
Gotta come on your favorite show.
It is my favorite show. It is my favorite show. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did, man.
It was not fun at the end. But let me paint a picture for y'all. So my girlfriend's dad was in town. He brought his girlfriend, and they wanted to go out. They wanted to go out that night, and I said, you know what? I'll be a good boyfriend. I'll be a good guy. Sure. Yeah. I won't watch the game. I won't watch it. I'll just check on my phone. And she's like, don't you want to, my girlfriend's dad's girlfriend, don't you want to watch the game? This is his favorite team. He wants to watch the game. Let him watch the game. No, it's okay. It's really fine. 13-3 at the half. No big deal. That's fine. I can drink a little bit. I got a little breathing room.
Yeah, you did.
Until we got back to the hotel and wanted to cut on the end of it. So see Tyler Huntley throw that ball.
Yeah.
And I just kind of broke down. I wanted to put my forehead inside of like a stone pillar somewhere. Why are you so upset? You guys are still going to the playoffs. I'm a Panthers fan. Look, I'm not upset. I'm having a great time. Honey, why is he upset? What's wrong with him?
The worst.
I'm just like, can we go home? Can we go home? Man, I'm looking at Twitter. Ramon Sweeten, come in your trap and take over your trap. like we didn't just go. We beat y'all at home too. We just traded traps. We just had. So
we do not care.
I know you don't. And then Mike Tomlin drops probably the hardest gif of the year with Kenny bleeping Pickett. Like I can't win, man. Lamar, everybody's like, Lamar ain't coming back. I ain't coming back. Why do you think I ain't been here Monday and Tuesday? I didn't want to hear it.
You were in mourning, man.
Oh, I was in mourning day and night. The
morning
whole
radio
time.
in a different way.
And I love how she just said, well, I'm a Carolina Panthers
That
fan.
make it no better. Why are you trying to hurt me?
See, that's the worst when you're watching a game with people and you're clearly upset and you can hear people like to your face analyzing your behavior. Like you go out with a group of friends and like somebody's girlfriend is like, why is he so mad? It's like,
shut up.
Like, wait, like it's just a game. And
I don't
it's like,
care this
honey,
much.
now I'm even more angry. And it's at you.
You don't care this much because your team sucks. Your team is terrible.
Like you don't hear me talking about like, you know, on The Bachelor when somebody gets home, you know, why is she so mad? You don't hear me doing that.
Never in the history of calm down has anyone ever calmed down, Bert.
Ever. And I went to her, I was like, name 3 Carolina Panthers. She's like, Christian McCaffrey, Cam Newton,
name 5 brothers.
And Luke Kuechly. I can name them. And I'm just like, go on.
They're all gone.
Robert really hit him with name 5 brothers, and you can come into the party.
Who do you know here?
Who do you know?
Who do you know here? Roger said no. Roger Goodell said you can't be a fan.
Hey, man, Bert, I ain't gonna lie. When it got down to 4, I knew then.
Oh, I told him. I said, well, look, we ain't getting the ball back.
I knew
and
it.
How do you know that? I know this. I know this team.
Because I know this team.
Because we've blown 5 10-point leads this year.
Listen, right now, if you are a local business in Nashville, Tennessee, sponsor this man, first of all. But
I'll quit smoking for y'all. I will quit smoking for y'all.
They don't even know. They don't even know all that. We good to go.
TV.
This is the Bert we want.
Andrew says, could y'all imagine Ron Slay and Bert on air at the same time?
Oh, God.
I feel like we need a podcast of just Bert and Slay just talking about life.
It would just be called Hollering.
It would be called
Hollering with Bert and Slay.
I mean, I've got their laughs together.
You do?
I heard it.
There we go.
I heard the laugh.
Oh, my
It could be called high on life.
Yeah.
There you go.
There it is.
There you go.
Bourbons and smoke or something, man.
I'll take it. However we can
No,
get
I
it.
got it. High and fried.
Okay.
Boom.
There we
High
go.
and fried, baby. Bert, man, I ain't
That's why
even.
he's the best producer in the world.
I'm
right?
sitting in the little annex area over there, right? Like Michael, like the office. I'm over there in the annex
are.
area because we got rules in the studio. And I'm sitting over there just scrolling on my phone, getting the breather and all. I said, "Hey, Kayla, it's kind of cool in the hallway." You want to know why? Because it was a dead body walking by.
And that'd be Bert, ladies and gentlemen.
That was me. And then we got shafted. I mean, I understand what happened, but now the Bengals are going to win the AFC North by whatever.
Yeah.
So my whole weekend's just been trash, man. At one point, I thought I was going to get to see the Ravens play a playoff game here,
Yeah,
which is it's just not going to happen
possible at one
anymore.
point.
But
why you say it like that?
yeah, because I'm distraught, man. I'm down bad.
What the-
This New
Robert
Year
Walsh,
started off
ladies and
rough. Yeah, I'm out of here.
You leaving?
Bye,
There we
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Hey.
Because I was
I was going to go to work, but then the Ravens lost.
I was gonna get up, but then I got high.
I don't know what just happened, but
And I know why.
oh my goodness.
I was in high school singing this, man.
Robert Walsh, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, man.
Bye, Bert.
Be cool. Be cool.
We've got to make him angry enough that way he can just sidetrack Buck's show after this.
Oh, my God. Bert ain't even the type of person I'd ever want to make mad either, man, because he's just so high. Like, he's just so on life. On life that I'm just like, you know what? Whoever tick him off, we beating him up together.
That's right.
That's probably the most angry I've seen him, and that wasn't even really angry.
He was smiling.
Is that really his laugh?
Oh my goodness. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's pretty good.
If y'all weren't following me on social media this weekend, I apologize before I got started.
Yeah.
I did.
I just saw that rat bird over and over and over.
I did too.
What is that, your favorite new little pet?
During Ravens hate week, hell yeah, it is, Kayla. The bird got a rat head with a bird body.
Yeah, we've seen it. If you follow Ramon on Twitter, you've
bro.
seen it like 5 or 6 times. the
It's
picture
got
of-
like over 100,000 impressions on it.
That's it. I'm getting that frame for his
How's
birthday.
bragging camp going?
Hey, look, well, I can't control what I can't control. And look, the Ravens lost this weekend. Titans and Steelers fans should be united as one right now.
That's not often happening.
Whew, that don't often happen.
Ever since CJ and Lindale stepped on a towel.
Speaking of Lindale, he went off on USC.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Lindale let him have it.
Good for Lindale.
Yeah.
Seriously.
In his era,
Yeah.
he can talk. You're right.
We played Lindale. I saw Lindale play firsthand.
Yeah.
Like, they can brag all they want.
Yeah.
They can say all they want to this USC team.
He can say all he wants to. Lindale went in, and Lincoln Riley is, hey, everybody's got this look like they're, hey, what you got going on
He's
over
so
there?
corny.
Is he? I never really knew much about his personality.
Lincoln Riley has quickly switched from cool to corny, in my opinion.
LA makes you cool. Him, no? Oh, don't do this, y'all.
I don't know.
I think you try too hard sometimes when you go to LA.
He's in that boat right now.
Just saying.
He's a little corny.
1-3 in big time bowl
He's
games.
on corny watch.
He's
I'll
on
say
corny
that.
watch.
He is on corny.
They lost to Tulane, which no disrespect to Tulane, but this is USC who was supposed to be back.
Yeah.
Who has no lick of defense.
Who also was huge in the portal. They had the best wide receiver in the country.
And the quarterback, I believe, just won the Heisman.
What? Oh, did you hear Kirk this weekend too?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear Kirk Herbstreit?
Yeah.
Kirk. Yeah, Kirk let Lincoln Riley have it a little bit.
Yeah.
Told him, go ahead, Kayla, you got it.
Well, the fingernail painting, and you can look at that as let him do what he wants. I look at that as not great sportsmanship. And also when you're building a program back up and that's your main guy and you point bleep the
Utah?
Utes.
Yeah, Utes.
It was a bad look because all the attention went straight to that.
To his fingernails. Yeah.
It wasn't about the team and the team trying to get the win and the team trying to win the Pac-12. It was about Caleb Williams, what he had painted on his nails. Distraction in my eyes. Sorry.
And Kirk, who's a super professional, pretty much said, clean that bleep up. He said it low, but everybody caught it. It's like, Kurt.
That's pretty funny that Kurt.
Oh, wow. He went out of character.
That counts as a bowl win for the SEC, by the way, Tulane.
Oh, God. Now look at him adopting Tulane.
Right. I'm with it.
Just because he wants to take one away.
No, it's because it's the best logo in college football.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The Angry Wave.
Yeah.
Angry Wave.
Dontrell Hilliard, Tulane.
Is he Tulane guy?
Yeah.
Nice,
Wave,
man.
Yeah.
Say wave like we do frog for Coach Mac.
Frog.
Wave.
I sent him a text message after the game. I almost thought I sent it too early.
Oh, God. You didn't want to do that.
I did not. I couldn't stomach Coach Mack being upset if they had a loss because it got real tight towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about a very excited human being.
That's so cool.
The emojis he was sending.
Tomorrow will be
frog.
I'm so excited. I've become a adopted Frog fan this year.
I'm okay with saying I'm rooting for the Frogs.
Just because of Coach Mack.
Yeah.
So top 7 and bottom 3, Ramon Foster.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go.
How many AFC South teams are in your bottom 3?
2.
Okay.
You know who they are. And I made an excuse for one of my bottom 3s, okay? Bottom 3, Houston's 32, Indy's 31. 6 in a row, just L after L after L. Not great. I don't think Saturday's going to get a fair shake at that job. They can't anyway. So
Ian Rappaport reported again over the weekend that he thinks he's absolutely in the conversation.
It must have the same agent.
Wait, Will.
Ian Rappaport, I mean, the reporting
Really?
is consistent that he's going to have a shot still at getting that job.
Wow.
Oh, that Saturday is.
Whew.
Okay.
All right. Well, cool. Houston 32, Indy 31. I put Chicago at 30. They actually moved up one, man. I said Chicago, but not Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is playing pretty well.
Can you imagine just being on the island by yourself? Because that's what he is right now. This
That's
dude
tough.
It's got to be tough.
And you're still trying to grow as a young man in the league
Yeah.
with all that
Yeah.
not around you.
Chicago, not including Justin Fields, is my 30th team in this
Yeah.
league, and I think that's fair.
You know, Bears fans are not big Velus Jones fans this year.
They're not?
He's had some fumble issues.
Yeah, come on, Velus.
Hasn't made a big
What's
impact.
going on
early.
there?
Oh, I ain't got a clue. He should be mature enough to handle
Yeah.
it. Who knows, man? He had a rough start.
He did.
But that's inexcusable, though, right? Top 7, we'll go quick with this one. Minnesota 7, bad loss, but you look at who they lost to and how they're playing. Green Bay is knocking on the door.
It's crazy.
I'll be the first to say I didn't believe it.
I
Didn't
didn't
believe
either.
it could happen.
Me either, Kayla.
I take back that.
They better not start treating this like the NBA or you want to get hot at the
know.
end of the season. Chargers. 6 this week, man. Very solid team, and their quarterback's coming into his own. Thought it was fair. They clinched in the playoffs already. Dallas, 5. I wanted to move them up. Go ahead.
Do you feel like the Chargers are in a similar place as Cincinnati was this time last year?
It seems, Will, it's really lining itself up to look that way. Yes.
It feels like
now
a
that you mention
little
that, yeah.
You've got a young, forward-thinking head coach, an incredible quarterback that this time of year, having a good quarterback that is that great is weighted a little bit more heavily towards winning games this time of the season.
5 of their last 6 have been dubs, too.
Just a thought.
Yeah, no, it seems that way. And now that you said that, you can correlate that to that for sure. Dallas, for sure. They're number 4 on this list. No, number 5 on this list. They
You
didn't
said
really
you wanted
move
to
up.
move them up?
I
but
did, but circumstances that happened in Cincinnati and with Buffalo, like I couldn't really. Dallas has a strong team, for sure. But everybody else is pretty much put as far as it goes. Buffalo and Cincy are in the same situation. Buffalo's 4, Cincy's 3. The team that made the biggest leap from last week, I had San Francisco at 5 last week. San Francisco's 2 on my list, with Kansas City number 1.
So where's Philly?
Where's Philly?
Philly got bumped out. I dropped 2.
Oh,
last
wow.
2 games. Yeah, remember the comment that
even with knowing that it's just a backup?
I couldn't keep them that high in the top 7 without. I mean, 2 losses in a row says something. Like, you got to be able to make up for the quarterback in some capacity. You know what I'm
they've
saying?
got so much other weapons around him. And Gardner Minshew has always been known as a decent, capable backup, too.
Yeah. I took them out and considered Minnesota being in that situation, but Minnesota lost to nobody wants to see Green Bay. This feels like friggin' 2010 Green Bay when we had to see them in the playoffs and they beat us in the Super Bowl.
They shut down Jefferson.
Yeah, they did. They did. And Alexander, boy,
he had a day.
He had a Jair Alexander? Yeah.
When it comes to Jalen Hurts, I know oftentimes if a guy gets hurt, hurts their chances of winning an award or winning MVP. To me, you're actually seeing just how valuable Jalen Hurts is in real time.
Yes.
I
actually think him missing the last 2 games has strengthened his MVP credentials.
Because we've been kind of going the opposite of that all year. And I'm not just saying we, but just the national media of saying, I mean, it's a product of what's around Jalen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're kind of seeing, but is it more Jalen?
I think it's Jalen. Jalen's system works. He's one of those winner types. I think whatever happened to him at Alabama, he just kind of ran out, or he wasn't the pro. He wasn't the quarterback at Bama that he is now in the league, and that goes without saying over time. But yeah, I couldn't keep him in the top 7. Well, those 2 losses, man. Last week I had the Eagles at 2, and I held on then. I couldn't hold on more to keeping them in.
Coming up next, some breaking news from Coley Harvey, who is covering Damar Hamlin's health in Cincinnati. He just chatted with Damar Hamlin's family and has a positive update this morning that we'll tell you about coming up. Not a lot of specifics, but trending in a positive direction for Damar Hamlin and his health. We'll update you on the latest there. Hit the headlines when we come back on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. It's about Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. I'm not going to lie, this drum beat kind of stresses me out.
Does it? I actually like it.
This is what the inside of my brain sounds like when I drink too much caffeine.
Every day.
Literally every day.
Yeah, literally.
And you add the cymbals and you add the extra cup of coffee.
Come on in, Shafe.
There you go. Little
Look
Van
at-
Halen.
That guitar, though.
I mean, it's Eddie Van Halen.
I wish I could
Let's
play guitar.
go.
Hot for teacher.
Somewhere Mickey Ryan is smiling.
That's right.
Shout out to our guy Mickey, man. And Blaine, man.
That's right.
Shout out.
How about our guy, Zach?
That what?
You know, that quarterback with the Jets. Hot for teacher.
Zach Wilson. Hot
Zach.
Stacy's there
mom.
it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Stacy's mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait,
That's all I got.
well, who sings
Like
that song?
that
Who
Music
sings that song?
City
Who sings
musical.
that song?
Whitney Houston.
Let's keep it that way.
Okay.
We're not playing that game that we used to play, Mo. That was a different show.
Hey. Don't make me go back to the old me.
You've got 2 singers on the show. You're not one of them.
That's right.
All right. Okay. All right. Next
Just
time we're
joking.
walking through a crowd, find your own way through.
I will.
That's right.
I
Somebody
love
responded that to the
party
video of me
crowds.
dancing
I
on
know.
Twitter and
I
just
can see
said
that.
the phenom.
The phenom.
I accept. I humbly accept.
Okay.
Coley Harvey
really
of
enjoy it.
ESPN this morning with an update on DeMar Hamlin and talking to his family friend Jordan Rooney, who is a marketing agent, a guy that works with the family, works with DeMar, says, per Jordan and DeMar's family, doctors overnight got promising readings that they had been hoping to see by this morning. Jordan, the family friend, could not go into specifics, but progress appears to be made. DeMar is still sedated and in critical condition in the ICU. He also clarified on behalf of the family that there have been some miscommunications on the number of times that he was resuscitated, saying it was only once, and it was on the field in Cincinnati.
Okay.
So Coley Harvey saying they will have much more on ESPN throughout the day, but also calling for any comments that are critical of T. Higgins to stop as well, is something the family is asking, saying don't blame him for the situation that happened, and I can't believe that people have done
Or
that.
even doing that.
I can't believe folks would even
Don't go there,
consider
people.
that conversation.
Don't do it.
The Rooney kid, what's his name again? His publicist.
Oh, Jordan.
Jordan. I wonder if that had any relation to the Rooney family in Pittsburgh. That's the reason I was starting to believe it. I was like, this kid's a Rooney.
That's really interesting.
His
actually.
location does say Pittsburgh,
He's
Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh. I wonder if that's like a nephew of Mr. Rooney or something like that. It wouldn't shock me if that was the case.
In that city,
Yeah.
yeah, if you know Rooney, it feels like it's probably likely in some way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But the T. Higgins side of it, and I heard 3HL speaking about that a little bit yesterday. The guy, what was it, from from Mississippi, that ended up being paralyzed.
It was Brad Gaines they were talking with. Or Brent was
Yeah,
talking
that's
with.
right.
And it was, the guy from Mississippi State who was paralyzed and then passed away 2 years later.
Yeah. And said upon their meeting, though, after the hit, first thing he said to him is not your fault.
Right.
And I thought that would be one of the first things DeMar Hamlin would say to T. Higgins.
Yeah, Chucky Mullins at Ole Miss.
Chucky Mullins. Yes, that's who it was.
Memphis kid.
Yeah.
Passed away in Memphis, but from Alabama. Yeah.
But that situation, again, mentally, T.
That's
Higgins, dealing with that, was like, well, man, what if I didn't lean it?
Sure.
All those types of questions that you play with yourself like that. For people that are criticizing T. Higgins,
I don't even get it.
I don't want to give them light. I don't want to give them light.
Right.
The focus right now should all be going to DeMar and just
Yep.
praying for him to recover.
I can't believe people, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other big story in the NFL that continues to kind of take a life of its own. Reports yesterday that Panthers owner David Tepper has had a conversation with Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, boy. Here we go
about
again,
the
folks.
Carolina opening, and here we go again. A source telling ESPN the conversation was not characterized as an interview. Interviews will not begin until Carolina finishes the season under Steve Wilkes Sunday against the Saints. If there was a situation where an interim deserves the job also,
Thank you.
Steve Wilkes has done a heck of a job after they traded away their best player in Christian McCaffrey.
I know. But, Kayla, you spoke about this on the break. I'm not sure if you wanted to bring that on the air, but as far as like Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke.
Heineke. Like his situation now, they're going to start him again. the optics in which the league operates sometimes, I hate it.
Yeah.
Just because a guy's not a first rounder, or we're speaking about Dobbs now being a starter, when, it's like if you're third or fourth round quarterback, you're not going to get a fair shake unless it's a injury to the starter. So this situation with Coach Wilkes, you say to yourself, like, you got the guy in right now.
He's gone through like 4 quarterbacks, by the way, this season, and was still able to somehow, in a way, turn around the season a little bit with the crap show it was.
Yeah.
And it was the worst team in the league all year long for the most part until recently, because they started to find ways to win some games. But I think like if you're going to give somebody a chance, give it to Wilkes.
Yeah. But
here's Harbaugh up here, his shiny new toy. Done it before in the league, been with the Niners.
And that's the interesting thing about it too. Like, you're going to go hire, you just hired and fired one college coach.
Right.
You're going to go do that again?
And I think just it's unfair for Michigan when Harbaugh's kind of said he's found his place. He's gained the respect from his players. He's clearly found ways to start winning there.
Yeah.
And now it's like, if he leaves, it's like, see you guys.
I know.
We didn't win the national title, but see ya.
As a recruit, where are you at on this? Because he's been linked to 2 jobs, ain't it? Isn't it Indy and also Carolina?
Denver
Is the main one.
That's the other one that's up right now for grabs.
Indy, I think, is more reported interest from him, just in open jobs, and maybe some kind of vague interest from Jim Irsay. But Denver and Carolina are the 2. Yeah.
At this point, if you got 2 separate teams talking about Harbaugh, if I'm betting on this one, I'm taking Harbaugh's probably coming to the NFL.
I think so too.
You think so?
You don't get that hot. His agent's outsourcing something. That ain't just them reaching out to me. His agent's probably, hey, he can't say it, but I can talk to y'all if you want to say he's interested.
By the way, Sports Track just put out potentially available quarterbacks for next year.
Yep.
Interesting.
It's a long list.
It's a really long
Is
list.
it really?
Sorry, that just caught my eye, though,
Oh, man.
considering the Titans might
And
be.
he threw both of the most recent full-time starting quarterbacks for the Titans on there, Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill.
Did he?
Potentially available. Yep. Jimmy G, Tom Brady, Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, Andy Dalton, Sam Darnold.
Gino?
There's a long list. Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Look out, teachers.
Zach get cut out, right? Yeah, he's cheap enough to where he can get cut out,
Man,
right?
talk about could be a major bust when it's all said and done. That young man.
And you know what? The way we, I hope, view quarterbacking this draft season, we got to go with what we see in their games.
Yeah.
That whole show that they put on TV with if we see one more sidearm throw, y'all, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I know.
I'm gonna be real with y'all, man. That's what got Zach Wilson, I think, over the hump with, he can make any throw. You idiot. How many times you see somebody complete that pass in a game now?
Right. Yeah, it may come out of their hands sideways, but is it going into the hands of a receiver or a defender?
For real. And how open are you? How many times you're open like that? If a guy's that open, you got time to really set up and see him downfield to complete that pass most times, right?
By the way, do you think the Giants resign or strike a deal with Daniel Jones?
It looks that way now.
I don't know. I mean, because they've got Saquon to do too.
They got that. Oh, yes, I'm glad we're talking about this, and I'm sure it can be an off-season conversation too.
Sure.
But the Giants are in a position right now to where if they reset again, they got to go get another quarterback. With Dayball as their coach.
Brian Dayball, yeah.
I feel like he's good enough to where he can surround them. And they got an O-line. I think their tackle was an all-pro, a Pro Bowler again this year. They have the line. They have the defense. They have the guy that's good enough to be the quarterback. Why change him is just where I'm at.
Okay. He's done enough. This year.
He was well in college. He had good teaching there. Look about what they had. That last coach they had the freaking coaches doing up downs after practice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's Urban Meyer. I mean, that's basically what we have going on right
Nick
here.
Saban in Miami.
And that's what I'm saying. So I'm glad Dayball came in and was just like, I can work with this. Let him grow up. You don't get enough of that. With quarterbacks, it's got to be now.
That's what it's all about, right?
It's got to be now.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need a year or 2 or 4. If they do him a deal right now to be really good business for the New York Giants, because I say this, as high of a cap number and salary that quarterbacks have, Daniel Jones is in a position. This is my business side coming on. I say to Daniel Jones, we want you. We want to keep you. We love you. But
there's the but.
I don't know if I want to pay you $40 million. You can go hit the market and you're going to be a backup for the rest of your career. Or you can sign here for 32, 35. We'll give you a nice signing bonus, and you're in New York. You're going to make that money back.
Sure.
I'm not saying Daniel Jones, old New York, that deal to say yes to, but it'd be in his best interest, in my opinion, because where else he's going to go?
Right now, they have the number 23 pick if the draft was tomorrow, and they have $56 million estimated per spot track of cap space going into 2023. Problem is that your pending free agents are Dalvin Tomlinson, the talented defensive tackle, who's making $10.5 a year. Sterling Shepard is making $10 million. Probably cut him loose.
Oh, yeah.
Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I can work
Those
with
are your
Saquon
main.
and
Those are your
Daniel.
main free agents. Either Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley is getting tagged, right?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
One of those two.
They turned down the fifth-year option on
They did.
Daniel Jones.
They did.
No, you would tag Barkley because you wouldn't want to pay the tag money for Jones.
Right.
That would be stupid money.
Well, but I mean, if it was 1 year as an audition and you don't have a good enough pick at 23 to go get your guy.
Yeah, because the average of the top 5, though, you still don't want to tag a quarterback.
Right. No,
See
it's
Cousins,
big.
comma Kirk.
It's big.
I'd much rather pay the quarterback, and respectfully, I say this, go give me any other running back.
Really?
Saquon's unique. He is.
Oh, you're saying keep.
Keep Daniel Jones. If I feel like I can win through the air with him and athletically with Daniel Jones, give me Daniel Jones. Give me a really good discounted price, Daniel, and I'll go get another running back. That's brash, but that's reality.
Yeah.
That's the way teams
Gotta think these days, yeah.
Okay, looking at Hassan Haskins.
Sure.
I love Derek.
You really starting this conversation at
I'm just
8:54?
We'll go to break, Will, but what I'm telling you is,
No, it's
where are we at?
it's a conversition to have this offseason, no doubt about it.
Look
Yeah.
at Deontay Foreman, what he's doing in Carolina.
I ain't saying.
He was off the street. Vrabel got him. Was not even playing on a team.
Somebody, Dylan just said that. Bijan Robinson's coming out.
That's
Ooh, that's right. Forgot about that.
Coming up next, fourth quarter of the show, 4's up around Music City and beyond as Rhett Bryan stops by, finish it off. Scout meeting Wednesday, and Inky Johnson joins us early today in hour 4 to share his own experience suffering a career-ending, life-altering injury, what he thought when Damar Hamlin went down on Monday in Cincinnati, and the next steps for him, but his teammates as well. We'll have an extended conversation with Inky Johnson as well coming up at 9:30. 60 more minutes on the Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will on deck.
8:59. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin remains hospitalized and in critical but improving condition after suffering cardiac arrest on the field during Monday Night Football in Cincinnati. Yesterday, his family released a statement thanking the public for its support and continued prayers. Titans linebacker Rashad Weaver was teammates with Hamlin in college at Pitt.
And that's a guy I talk to, whether it be on social media, text, Snapchat, Twitter, anything, at least probably once a week, constantly just sit telling each other how we see each other doing our thing.
As the league attempts to find a new normal, the Titans in preparations for Saturday's division title against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Only cornerback Davante Harris did not practice. Christian Fulton, Amani Hooker, Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Jeffrey Simmons, among others, were limited. Danico Autry, Derrick Henry, and Josh Thompson were full participants. Men's college basketball last night, number 8 Tennessee trounced Mississippi State 87-53. Vanderbilt defeated South Carolina 83-79 in overtime. And to the ice, the Nashville Predators doubled up the Montreal Canadiens 6-3. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on for 60 more minutes this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, with 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, the capitalized J journalist. Don't call her Kyla, call her Kayla Anderson. Yes. And the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen. Of the world. I'm Will Bowling. Rhett Bryan in studio with us, finishing off the Wednesday edition. He'll say that. He'll say many other things this morning of value. Good morning, Rhett.
Good morning, all. How are we?
Morning, Rhett.
Fine. We're well, Rhett B.
We've had a good playlist this morning from Jonathan Schaefer because it is so hot in this building that he's been playing.
I've heard a lot of those coming back in bumps from breaks. Yeah.
I knew you'd appreciate the Van Halen one specifically.
Sure, absolutely.
I remember that one.
Warmed up in here even more when Robert Walsh blew his hot air in here as well. So
well, I mean, hey, it happens.
Bert was
got to get it off your chest.
Bert was in mourning.
Volcano Bert.
Volcano Bert.
There he is back there. Look at that grin.
As he walks into the studio.
He hears me talk about never mind.
He just appears.
He just appears?
That's right.
Keep your rat bird on your timeline, right?
All right, I'll keep my rat, but I gave it back to Bert.
Rat Bert.
Rat Bert. That's it. Anyway, Bert, I'll take it, man.
So, Rhett, lots to talk about with this Titans game on Saturday and the locker room yesterday. I know you were there for the conversation the media had with Rashad Weaver, Mike Vrabel, Josh Dobbs, every player really talking about Damar Hamlin, and that's on the minds of everyone around the National Football League. Just wanted to get your reaction to everything that you've heard in the last 24 hours, whether it be from the Titans and from his family, just to the the week that we've had to really put things in perspective with this situation in Cincinnati.
All right, so first of all, I thought Mike Vrabel's comments were spot on. Mike Tomlin's with a huge thread of connection there, knowing Damar for that long was even more poignant. And then Kayla was right there with me when, Rashad, we wouldn't have asked him for any comment whatsoever, but he'd agreed to speak.
Yeah.
And thought he could get through it, couldn't get through it. And I've never felt so bad for a human being. I even felt bad standing there getting audio from it because after that happened Monday night, outside of Damar Hamlin himself, his family, his teammates, those teams on the field, everyone involved, first person I thought about was Rashad Weaver because that's his college teammate.
Yep.
They came into Pitt together, played 5 years together, were drafted the same year, so that's a strong bond. And he spoke about how they would share messages back and forth, whether it was, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, or just a text once or twice a week to see what each other was up to and, how they're kind of making their way into the league and what they're doing and, in pursuit of the dreams and things that they have talked about for a long time. And, I mean, it clearly affected him. And I just, I felt terrible for him. That locker room is much like I think the rest of the league was yesterday. Much more subdued, not as much music being played. There was still, a little bit of laughter and guys were still trying to loosen up and have a good time, but you could tell there was an overwhelming presence of kind of what had happened. The impression I got too, because I stayed here after the Mike Vrabel show working on some stuff because obviously there's a game Saturday. And I heard Westwood One's coverage right here on the Zone driving home with Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner. And I noticed, they kept talking about this play, and I noticed they kept taking breaks. And, sometimes you just drive and you hear background noise. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's wrong. And they start describing what had happened. And they're saying, okay, now there's an ambulance coming out. When Kevin Harlan said, okay, so here's the play, and I don't know if it was helmet to helmet or not, but it's T. Higgins and he springs up to his feet. A couple seconds later, he collapses. And I thought, oh my, this is not good at all. But the really, really nice job the two guys did in describing what is going on, because look, going through a weather delay or something like this in a broadcast, you don't just get to fall back on the numbers, a recap, a reset, a scoreboard. This is life and death.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is totally different.
Yep.
This is not, we're in a lightning delay, and so we're going to give you a recap, and let's run through a scoreboard of what's happened in the league in week 17, yada, yada. This is a young man's life is in the balance. And so Kevin Harlan says, there's levels and degrees of how, and we're going to describe to you how serious this is. If a guy gets dinged, he goes to the blue tent. If that's not enough, he goes to the locker room. If that's not enough, they take him to the x-ray room that every stadium has. And the last of that is an ambulance. Oof. So that tells you how serious this is and the brevity of the moment. And I'm sitting here going, wow. Yeah. But I don't know if they couldn't see. I didn't realize they were doing CPR and a defib on this guy. And I'm like, whoa. And I've been watching football long enough. I saw, when Dennis Byrd and a couple of those guys got hit in a game and were paralyzed, and that's terrible. But this was something completely different. And like everybody else, you're just sitting there in what seems like an eternity. And let me say this. It seemed like an eternity before the league decided to postpone or stop this game or whatever. It really wasn't that long. It just seemed that way because the situation was so urgent, and you had to – someone got Roger Goodell on the phone, Troy Vincent's on the phone. They're talking to the head coaches, the whole bit. And really, it took, basically an hour. And I'm not defending the league. I'm just saying it probably felt like 5 minutes to all those people involved.
Yeah.
And it took an hour. And I said this on Blaine and Mickey yesterday. I think the league will have to revise language in their bylaws about things like this when this happens, because when you look at a catastrophic event, it has to do usually, and I found the article in their bylaws, it's mainly to do with weather. Some, force majeure, some act of God, some, flooding, a lightning, tornado, whatever. It doesn't really say anything about a life-altering or changing event involving a player. So I think they're going to have to freshen up the language in that into what the procedures and protocols are, so that they can, and they don't want to, they don't want to make a decision too quick.
Right.
But I think they could have used a little more expedience if there's some language set in place and everyone understands and interprets it the same way.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because, and I liked your point too, at the time, everybody just wants to know what's going on. What's the latest information? Why aren't they canceling the game? And in the moment, it just seemed like forever. And an hour is a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with it never being that situation before,
if you're in it, I guarantee you it felt like 5 minutes.
Sure.
To Sean McDermott, to Zach Taylor, to any of those guys. I bet it felt like 5 minutes, and because you lose track of time in horrific moments like that. You hear stories about people who've survived a horrific car accident or some major event. You lose time. Mm-hmm. So that's what I imagine that would have been like. And in checking on Rashad Weaver yesterday, he said, I just want him to be okay, and I feel like I'm in limbo until I find out that he is.
Yep.
And that's that thumbs up on the stretcher we're all looking for, and everyone applauds as he's leaving the playing surface. We didn't get that.
Yep.
And he didn't. That's just micro example on our side.
Yeah.
That's his teammate he didn't get that from,
Right.
which exponentially is much more important.
Rhett B, this moving forward, this has to change everything. I think at a minimum requirement, like high school coaches, middle school coaches got to have a EAD on site. Have to. They all have to be certified moving forward. Think about how many practices, days go by in training camp, and these type of hits still happen. We talk about fights in camp, right? Like that's what that game last night was reminiscent of. This is early in the season kickoff because they were so piped up about playing that game. Like it was intense, right? And that's just the spirit of competition.
It's going to be one of the best Monday Night Football games of the year just because of what it meant.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so those emotions, that adrenaline, all those things kind of played into that game a little bit. But like, let's go back to training camp. Like, where are we at with that? I challenge, of course, high school coaches, middle school coaches, to make sure that your entire staff is certified. And maybe they already are, and I'm just projecting this too, Rhett. But just it brings a highlighted sense to everything around the cardio aspect of it moving forward to me.
I'll take it a step further. I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? It's been a long time since I took a CPR class as a 15-year-old kid in Boy Scouts.
Yep.
Wowzers.
And you know what? I probably need a refresher.
Yes.
You said
that's
that.
what I told Ramon yesterday.
We need a refresher so that we can help those around us if they ever need it, and God forbid that they do. And the other part is, I think you're right. And I know there are some places with legislation where they have passed bills where, you have to have a defibrillator or passing an act where that is in space for you to be able to use at a moment's notice. But I feel like we all need to be brushed up on this, even though this is such a freak thing that happened with DeMar Hamlin. But, yeah, and that's where when you're hoping and praying that he is okay, and once we get that thumbs up that he's okay, there will be all kinds of great things, blessings, if you will, that will come out of this.
Yeah, buddy.
For those playing your game going forward currently and those in the future. And this has touched the NFL for sure, the sports world, absolutely, but the world, life always is greater than any sporting event, always.
And to top it off real quick, too, the idea that the game is soft.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No. I never played it down, but I've covered it for a quarter of a century, and I can tell you right now, there ain't nothing fake about that.
Yeah.
Injuries are going to happen.
Yeah.
It's imminent.
Yep.
And we've been fortunate, Rhett, listeners, fans, myself, to not really have a situation like that's what I just thought when you were talking. I was just like, man, in all of this, we've been fortunate as fans, consumers of this game, to not actually see something like this. We've seen broken bone. We've seen all other injuries.
When you read stories and accounts of 100+ years ago, before the NFL started, when the game was in its infancy, where there wasn't the equipment, they were wearing leather helmets or whatever, where someone would perish on the field.
Yeah.
But that's a long, long time ago. This is 2023. And health and safety is consistently being pushed to the forefront finally for you guys.
Yeah.
Because those pre-1957 players,
I know.
there ain't a whole lot of them around for a reason.
Yes.
And so, if they really mean it, then things will be changed in a way so that you're maybe a little more prepared. Now, I will say this. Now, listen, for those first responders, for those training staffs and medical teams, he couldn't have been in a better place other than a hospital for when something like that happened, because he had a flock of people around him to help him. And that, I'm sure that's one of the main reasons why he is still alive right now.
And I think of Tyrell Dodson, Bills linebacker, who's from here, went to Centennial High School, who tweeted out, "I just can't wait for DeMar just to see all the support that he's getting."
Yeah, man.
And the positive that comes out of that.
You know what? And it's funny you say that, too, because did you notice at some point yesterday, because I follow a lot of NFL social media as far as the actual team accounts, especially those in the division, because we play them twice a year. Every one of those 32 teams have Pray for DeMar on their avatar on Twitter.
Yes.
Every single one of them.
Yep.
And have you seen all the stadiums across the country are starting to light up with the blue and the red and the colors?
You see the hockey players also.
Phenomenal.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, the Buffalo Sabres before their game yesterday came out with a Pray for three.
They play a similar sport.
Absolutely.
How many times they get checked up against the glass and we just
There's
we
been
do that?
there's been an incident.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, with hockey.
It's
where-
relatable.
Same type of situation. So.
Well, coming up next, we continue the conversation with Rhett Bryan, the executive producer of Titans Radio, previewing Titans and Jags this weekend. And we bring Inky Johnson into the conversation earlier than we typically do on Wednesdays to get his perspective on his own life-altering injury and the way his teammates had to cope with that and the way he helped that process to use his situation as a positive, including midweek motivation here with us Wednesdays on the show. Rhett Bryan with us, Inky Johnson coming up at 9:30 this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, did you know that regulations are coming soon that could increase the price of replacing your older HVAC system by over 20%?
Kayla, that's why you need to act now and get that older system replaced by our friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
That's right. They offer 18 months with no payments. You can lock in today's price and not have to pay until spring of 2024, or you can get up to $1,500 off your new HVAC.
And Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is always backed by 10-year parts and labor warranties on York product. Well, that's because Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is also a York certified comfort expert company.
And you know what? This is a great family. And if you need repair work, they offer free service calls with their repairs plus low monthly payments on those repairs.
Simply, they are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
Available anytime at springhillac.com.
It's about Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on a 104.5 The Zone. Remote Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling with you. Rhett Bryan hanging out with us in studio. Jonathan Schaefer is our producer. Coming up in 7 minutes, VFL Inky Johnson joins us for an extended conversation on DeMar Hamlin injuries and the next steps in rehab that he had to go through, and as well that his team had to go through at the University of Tennessee. But first, for a couple minutes, Rhett, we talked Titans and Jags coming up on Saturday. And earlier on in Scout Meeting Wednesday, we mentioned that Jacksonville is learning to win different kinds of games. They've won a lot of shootouts, but their defense has had a really good couple of weeks. And, Rhett, the Houston Texans were not able to do anything against them offensively last weekend.
No, and the thing about the Jags, first of all, they're riding a 4-game win streak. They have, by the time we get to Saturday, it would have been 27 days since the Titans saw them in Week 14 on, December the 11th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on a roll ever since.
Yep.
4 games they've won. Since Week 9, and we're at Week 18, so halfway through the season, Trevor Lawrence has only thrown 2 picks. In his last 8 games, 14 touchdowns. That day at Nissan Stadium, he had 121 passer rating for 368 yards, 3 touchdowns.
He did.
And you talk about a guy. Now you always talk about getting the bag of cash. Evan Ingram's going to get the bag of cash in 2023 because he did a 1-year prove it deal.
Wow. Yeah.
And that guy's having a career year, and he had a career day against the Titans.
Yeah, he did. We went through it in our scout meeting. The last week or so he's been on the tear since that game. 4 yards, 30 yards, 162, 62, 113, 61. That's a nice average for a tight end with 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And 36 targets in that window of time.
Wow.
Last 4 games, 36 targets for Evan Ingram.
Talk about betting.
Who was, he was dinged up at Ole Miss. He was dinged up a good chunk of his career with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
He's healthy now, and he's rolling.
He's like having a resurgence.
He is.
When you're talking, and then they have Marvin Jones, Zay Jones. I mean, they've got these weapons at the disposal. And how about Travis Etienne? He's 92 yards away from being just, I think, the 4th back in Jacksonville history to rush for 1,200 yards in a season.
Yeah.
Fred Taylor did it a bunch, obviously. Maurice Jones-Drew did it a bunch. But that dude who missed all of his rookie season due to an injury, who's basically a rookie right now, is ginning, man. He is going. This guy is starting to really generate some offense in this thing. And you can see when he's 88 and out the gate, you better get him. Well, Mike Vrabel said it best the other day at his press conference. He said, you get him on level 1 or 2 or it's a track meet.
Well,
he had a 62-yarder out of the gate. They were up 14-0 in Houston the other day in the blink of an eye.
Well, and give credit, the Titans did shut him down.
Yeah, they did.
They absolutely
Last
did.
time they faced
held
him.
the whole team to 60 yards
Right.
rushing.
He had 17 carries for 32 yards, but again, you cannot you can't pull back on this guy, especially at this time when he knows it's all on the line. Etienne, what he can do out there in his home stadium.
And the big thing, look, defensively, they have to affect the throwing cylinder for Trevor Lawrence. And it's not just about the quarterback sacks or the hits or the pressures. They have to get him off of his right foot, whether it's matching hands at the line of scrimmage, which a guy like Rashad Weaver and Denico Autry and those guys are really good at. And then hopefully your tip drill's working good, and somebody like Byard's back there to scoop it up. And
that's what I said earlier. And Trevor Lawrence is good for a phantom bad throw in a game where you're just like, what are you doing? To your point about the tip ball, somebody's got to be Johnny on the spot this weekend.
Well, let me tell you where there's an advantage though, truly with him, because I just read he had 2 interceptions since Week 9, so he's really taking care of the ball. Now, quick release. He was under 2.5 seconds release on December the 11th. Where there's a weak point is if you can get into close contact and proximity with him when he is pulling the ball down to either extend a play.
Yeah.
He has 11 fumbles this year, 8 of which he has lost. There is a place where I guarantee you Mike Vrabel, Shane Bowen, these guys are looking at that going, okay, if we can get in his space and chainsaw that ball out of there, we can force a turnover, which, thank goodness, the Titans' defense has really started to do in the last couple of weeks.
And quick pro tip, a strip fumble is a sack in this league too, right?
Yes,
right?
indeed.
Okay, all right, just checking. Just get the ball out. is what you're saying from him.
And then capitalize.
Yeah. Hey, how healthy are these Titans going to look? Do you think they're going to get back guys like Christian Fulton, Monty Hooker? I mean, David Long obviously still in IR.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the later we get in the week, that seems less likely.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one guy, and Mike Vrabel confirmed it yesterday that, he would be the only person considered for that last return from IR to the practice portion of this thing. Certainly, I think the week and change of rest will be great for Jeff Simmons, for Danico Autry, for Derrick Henry. I think there's a shot you get back a Monty Hooker and Christian Fulton. You get Christian Fulton back, and now we're talking about something different because that's where Roger can slip back inside. Where I think that may be the place where he's better suited in there is the nickel. But that would be a huge addition. And then getting the other starting safety back there with Kevin Byard, you just got to be able to keep things in front of you. And then you got to – the other thing too, you were just looking at Ticketmaster of how expensive those tickets are. Yeah. That crowd's going to be raucous.
What's the prices?
The minimum is like $195 in the lower bowl. They're up to $1,000
in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you've got to take them out of their element early. If you can force a takeaway and score points on that and get that crowd out of it early, because they have been waiting for this for a long time.
Sure.
It's been a long time since 2017 happened.
Yep.
And that's a whole different roster then.
Yeah. Big time.
Cam Robinson's the only guy that's on that team that was on the 2017 team, and he's on IR now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
Well, we transitioned back to discussing Damar Hamlin and his injury and his collapse on Monday night in Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. And joining us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will is our friend Inky Johnson, Vol for Life, providing his perspective with us on the show. Inky, we appreciate you giving us a couple minutes this morning. How are you?
What's going on, guys? How are you guys?
Hey, Inky.
We're doing all right. And Inky, I just wanted to first get your reaction to watching the game on Monday, seeing Damar Hamlin's injury and collapse, and just the sense of urgency from the medical staff. What was your initial reaction to what we saw Monday in Cincinnati?
Man, I was just overwhelmed, with a ton of emotion. I sat with it for a while. Just dissecting the different elements of it. Of course, I couldn't help but, identify with it, even though our situations weren't specifically the same, just knowing what that moment brings in terms of emotions, in terms of how it impacts and affects a family, and in terms of how it impacts and affects the guys that you play with, the coaches, and even the supporters, man. And so, yeah, it was just a lot of different range of emotions for me. Grateful that they were able to get to him in time.
When it comes to the initial onset of everything, Ink, man, as first and foremost as you're concerned. I remember watching us like, all right, Ink, get up. And that's the initial mindset. When you didn't get up, and I'm sure Damar Hamlin doesn't understand what's going on with him in this scenario, but what was your mindset, Ink, while being on that ground and watching your teammates be around you?
It's scary, man, because as an athlete, and just as a person, I believe everybody has in them a level of resilience, right? But just speaking to the athlete, right, the modern day athlete, it's something in you feel oftentimes you're invincible, right? Like even if certain things happen, you're going to bounce back and you're going to respond to it. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't get up, right? And I'm sure for the first time in his life, he was sitting there and like when they brought him back, like you can't get up. Like that's frightening. Right, that's scary because you've never been in that space and place before, and so for me, it was a wake up call, man. But it was frightening, the process.
And from there, Ink, the severity of your injury too. I remember you told us, and we didn't really understand it till the next day after surgery was done. But like the idea that if they didn't act fast, you could have died. Like where was that? When did that hit you? The understanding of that, and that's where Damar Hamlin was also.
Yeah, man, it hit me at the hospital, and obviously, man, it hit him right on the field, and when I heard that, man, it was hard to process, right? And I was thankful and grateful, man, that they even caught it, because a lot of people knew the injury. A lot of people speculated shoulder, arm, even me, right? I thought broken arm or something like that. But when he ran in and said, we noticed you ruptured your main subclavian artery and you're bleeding internally, and we got to rush you back and perform emergency surgery, take your main vein out of your left leg, plug it into your chest in order to save your life. Like, he was like, we got to do that now. And he was like, or you won't be alive in the morning. You'll bleed out. Nobody on the outside of those rooms knew that. Wow. Like, the people in the waiting room, they didn't know that, right? They just thought Ink was back getting protocol. And when the doctor was like, we got to do that now or you won't be here in the morning, right? I was just like, man, let's go. Like, I prayed and I was scared, to be honest. But it was tough to process, man. Even when I watched DeMar, man, just like it was like 9 minutes, right, to where they was out there. I think it was 9 minutes. It seemed like forever when I was watching it, right? I was thankful that they were there. I'm just talking about just the severity of the moment, the fragility of the moment. It seemed like it was forever, right? But it was only 9 minutes, and they did an incredible job. But to me, just processing it and watching it, it was like, man, I was watching a movie, a scene from a movie all over again.
And with that being said, too, of course, the conversation, should they play the game, not play the game? When you went off with us, Ink, we had an opportunity to see you. We saw your eyes open. You gave the thumbs up. In that moment when McVay, Jason McVay, our trainer at the time, were telling you and processing you out of the stadium, did you understand what that thumbs up meant or a reaction from you meant to us, to the crowd in that moment?
I didn't. I was just giving a thumbs up, more so like, you know, man, I'm here. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm breathing. I'm good. Right. But I didn't understand or process what it meant to my teammates in that moment. I didn't understand what it meant to the supporters in that moment. It was more so me just showing everybody that I felt was supporting me, like, man, I'm good, to try to take a little bit of the burden off of them in terms of their thought process of trying to understand, like, is he alive? What's going on with him? And so I just threw the thumbs up, like, nah, man, I'm cool. But I didn't know the next phase of that was going to be me having to get life-saving surgery.
Inky, how much did perspective on just life change for you after that?
Oh, my whole life changed, right? And it's like, even with watching a moment like that, right, with what happened with DeMar, like, you talk to people often and you try to get them to, I feel like as people, just the totality of us as people, we're very ungrateful, right? Just as people, in terms of the spirit, the attitude, right, the approach, how we look at life, the perspective that we see it with. I feel like as people, oftentimes, we're extremely ungrateful and we're entitled, right? We feel as if life is just promised to us. I was thinking about this morning. I took my kids back to school, right? They started school back this morning. Me and my wife are driving. It's storming in Atlanta. Like, I saw so many accidents, right, taking my children to school. So many accidents. And I was just thinking in my mind, I'm sure every person that got in an accident this morning, nobody thought when they left the house with their children, with their spouses, man, this morning I'm going to get in an accident. I'm sure DeMar didn't think, man, I'm going to go out, play in this game, and in the quarter I'm going to go make a tackle, and I'm going to go into cardiac arrest. He never thought that. I never thought fourth quarter, 2 minutes, Air Force game, I'm going to go make a tackle, find myself in the emergency room, my career is going to end, right? And so you often say to people things such as, hey, man, don't take what you do for granted. Hey, man, be grateful. Not just in sports, just in whatever we do, right? And I think what that moment did for people is they saw it, and they saw the fragility of life and the fact of, as people, we think we have so much control. When you see a moment like that, when you see something that happens in the world like COVID, when you experience a life-threatening injury, what it does is it shifts your perspective, but it brings a reality check in terms of you have no control. And so if you have no control externally, control what you can control. Perspective, attitude, energy, what I bring into an environment, how I respond. And so if you notice, most of my messaging, even as I speak, it's about gratitude. It's about perspective. It's about response. And so I often say to people, the hardest part of my injury, it wasn't my injury, even though that was extremely tough. The hardest part of my injury was watching people take the game that I once played for granted. Right? That was the toughest part for me.
And that's where I want to go back to you as far as the NFL is a business. We know that we've all benefited from it. And you spoke to NFL teams and everything, right? I've played. Everybody's benefited from this game. Where were you with us? I remember I told them earlier when you never told us, or at least never told me, that you weren't going to play anymore, maybe until like my senior year, right? And you were still on campus working out with us. You doing box jumps, you're running sprints with us, you're in the sand pit with us. You never told us openly in a team meeting, hey, my playing career is done because, as you said, you think you're superheroes in this. How important is that was it for us and also for the Bills and for the NFL to hear, DeMar Hamlin be like, all right, y'all, I'm okay. Y'all can go do this thing.
Yeah, man, I think it's extremely important. But I think also, man, sometimes, Moan, I feel like you can go through something so tough as a person, right? Like so heavy as a person. And our first reaction as people, oftentimes we want to do what? We want to understand.
Yeah.
Right? If we encounter something, we want to understand it. If something comes from left field, hits us in life that we don't we want to immediately, man, what is this? Right? Injury, cardiac arrest, like what is this? Like how did it happen? We want to understand it. And I often tell people, man, sometimes things can be so heavy, you just got to survive the moment. Just survive it, right? Day by day, moment by moment, situation by situation. Just survive it. And what I was doing, Moan, the reason I didn't share it in a meeting, the reason I didn't share it with guys, I was trying to survive, bro. Because I was going through something that was so traumatic to me, right? Like I still get emotional, but I was going through something that was so traumatic for me. Like nobody could fight that battle for me, right? And so every single day, in spite of the smiles, in spite of dapping people up, in spite of the box jumps, in spite of the workouts, I was trying to survive, bro. Like I was trying to find some level of perspective in it, right? Because you got to think, you go to sleep and you wake up, you can never use your right arm and hand again, right? They cut you in your chest. They cut you 6 times down your left thigh. They cut you from the bottom of your armpit to the bottom of your hand, 350 steaks. Like I had been sliced and diced like a fish, right? And I was just a collegiate athlete, bench pressing, running, jump. I was trying to survive. And so for him, I'm sure it's going to be a moment in time to where it's going to be like, man, what is this, right? And my advice and insight to him would be, even when you get back on your feet, like don't rush it, right? Take your time processing it. Take your time dealing with it. Because I'll never forget, Mon, they took me to counseling when I was at Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
And I've never shared this. They took me to counseling when I was at Tennessee after my injury happened. And I didn't know anything about therapy, I didn't know anything about it. And I credit them for doing this, right? But at the time, I wasn't prepared and I didn't understand it, right? And so I went into therapy and I sat with the gentleman. He was nice as all get out. But I sat there every single day and I really wasn't into it, right? Because I was still trying to survive the moment. And that's one of my biggest regrets, right? Because I got to a point where I was able to dissect it and start to work my way through it. But that's one of my biggest regrets, right? That I stopped going to therapy. I went to him. I remember I told him like, oh, man, I'm cool on that. We ain't got to go to that. But I got to a point to where I had to face it, right? And I had to deal with it. And I wish early on I would have went into those therapy sessions and had somebody to help me really process it and work through it. But I just wasn't prepared and ready, and I didn't understand it because I was still trying to survive the moment. And so I think it's important, man.
So for DeMar and moving the aftermath, life is just all that matters right now, right? Screw football. What would you tell a guy like him, other than therapy, talking it through, for people that got to deal with this? Watching it also, we're the lowest on the list when it comes to that. But what's the advice for moving? Because to say you're doing what you're doing right now, Ink, I definitely thought you was going to the NFL, but you flipped it.
Absolutely, man. I would just tell them gratitude, man. Like gratitude, bro. I can't drive that message home enough. But also, man, just appreciating the small wins. Like I think, it's like when you get injured or you experience something traumatic, oftentimes the perspective of people goes to the space and place of what happened. Right? Man, he made a tackle. He fell into cardiac arrest. Like, man, it wasn't even a crazy tackle. Like, we dissect it naturally. That's us as people, right? And oftentimes we forget, like, this is going to change him for the rest of his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, my injury changed me for the rest of my life. And so when I would see an article that said, oh, man, Inky's career is ended, Inky got a paralyzed right arm and hand, I was like, yeah, I hear you, but my life changed. Like, his life is going to be changed for the rest of his life. And so the thing I would tell him is Your life is going to be changed for the rest of your life, but you got your life. Not trying to minimize the situation, right? Not trying to minimize what happened. You got your life, right? Gratitude, appreciate the moment. You got your life. Celebrate the small wins. When you come out of it and you get through the fall, appreciate the moments, appreciate the people, and take your time as you work through it and you try to figure it out to get back to some normalcy in life.
Inky, on the way out, and this has been a great conversation. It's so good to hear your perspective on this. It's cool to me that you have used what happened in your life and you've used the negative event as a positive. I know Damar Hamlin said when he was drafted, I feel like this is my purpose from God to help my community and to give back to Pittsburgh. Where he's from. And I think that's such a cool part of your story and the perspective you're giving on Damar as well. It's not just being thankful for the things that you have always been able to do that are regular routine parts of your life. It's being thankful for the negatives and using that as a mission, as you have, to do a lot of good and speak from a position of experience.
Absolutely, man. And like I often challenge people, and I say to them, like, is it really perspective? Is it really gratitude if you can't be grateful for the opposition, adversity, and unfortunate moments? Because we all can be grateful for things that happen that are great, things that happen and go our way, things that happen and it plays out the way we want it to, right? But is it really gratitude when we're grateful and thankful for things that happen the way we want them to, right? Gratitude isn't tested until something goes wrong. Perspective isn't tested until you don't get what you want. And then you have to find perspective in the midst of the opposition, in the midst of the challenge, in the midst of the uncertainty, in the midst of a paralyzed right arm and hand in your career. You have to find it, right? And so I would say to him, once you capture perspective, once you capture gratitude, never let it go. It took me a while to capture it, right? Because somebody would always come to me with a different option for my arm. Hey, Inky, you can go here. They're doing this here. Hey, they created this technology. Inky, hey, you can go try this, right? And you go down this rabbit hole of trying all these different things. And it makes it hard to capture peace, right? And so once you capture it, protect it. Once you capture gratitude, once you capture peace, protect it, right? And appreciate it.
Great stuff. Our friend Inky Johnson with us this morning. Inky, we appreciate you giving us a couple more minutes here to speak on this issue, to share your perspective, and really just grateful to have you on the show, man.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for giving me the opportunity and the time.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
All right, there is Inky Johnson with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We'll wrap up the show. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. One final segment this morning of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Getting out of here quick before the Buck Rising Show takes over after us. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, Rhett Bryan hanging out with us for his weekly conversation with us to finish off Scout Meeting Wednesday. And, boy, powerful stuff from Inky Johnson right there. That was terrific.
Yeah. Really appreciate him coming on and sharing what is always incredible perspective.
Capture the peace.
Yep.
Capture the gratitude. Accept what you have when you know that's where you are and what you're doing. And the other thing is you don't have any control over anything.
Yep.
That's a thing all of us struggle with. And I learned a long time ago, you have influence over how your children are raised and things. You have influence over situations. You don't have control over diddly squat.
Nope.
Nothing.
Wow. I don't think there's much more we can add today that's going to top that. So tomorrow morning, Coach Dave McGinnis continued Titans and Jags previews just a couple of days away. The Saturday game sneaks up on you a little bit, too.
Looking forward to that one,
I know.
too.
I'm really excited.
Be here before you know it, Will.
Rhett, thank you as always.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
I was just going to say, Titans fan, if y'all are traveling, Jags tickets,
Woo!
Hi.
Right?
$1,000 lower bowl. That tells you where they are.
There's no tarps on the seats this time in Jacksonville.
And happy birthday, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, the king.
Yeah.
Love it. We're back at it again, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll have Coach Mack. We'll have much, much more. And we have words of wisdom from Ramon Foster to send you on your way today.
Please remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.